You're strapped in to a live radio broadcast on Pure Rock Radio.
Just about everyone and their dog has a website or uses a domain name like yourname.com. Thanks to our partnership with GoDaddy, the leader in hosting and domain name registration, we can offer all our listeners big savings on everything GoDaddy offers. Go to purerockradio.net/GoDaddy for a full list of coupon codes to save on hosting your website, registering your domain name, and much more. You can even switch to GoDaddy anytime to start saving, and our coupon codes will never expire. Every time you use one of our coupon codes, it benefits you, Pure Rock Radio, and all the shows we carry. So thanks for visiting purerockradio.net/GoDaddy today. Try coupon code POD167 to save 10% off your GoDaddy purchases today.
Welcome to the Used Bin. All music, all the time. What are you listening to? Used Bin Radio.
Unto others as you would do unto yourself.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday night, and welcome to Used Bin Radio. How are we doing this evening, ladies and gentlemen? We're so glad you could join us. This is our regular weekly Tuesday night program where we like to talk about tunes. We're going to be talking a lot about progressive rock this evening. We got a big show planned for you. Our featured guest tonight is going to be none other than legendary bassist Chris Squire of Yes.
Yes!
How's that, brother man?
That does not suck at all.
That's right, that's right. And we would also like your participation in this evening's show. So we're going to give out some phone numbers to you a little later. And if you have any emails you want to drop us with any questions or comments, you could do that all night long at usedbinradio at usedbin.com. We want to know what you've been listening to. We want to know what's on your mind.
Yeah.
What's on your mind, brother man?
Can you turn up my headphones a little bit?
I could do that.
That'd be cool. That'd be metal right there. Oh, now that's metal.
Is that better?
Now I'm feeling you, brother.
All right.
I thought that you were on like the other end of our extremely huge studio, and I could barely hear you.
And now I'm in your ear.
You're more than in my ear.
Wow, how about that?
Well, we have a great show planned tonight. I'm real excited about Chris Squire because the new record, Fly From Here, is out July 12th, and we get to talk to Chris all about that and everything that's Yes related and tours and all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm really excited about it.
Absolutely.
Lots of good stuff.
And we're going to give you a little taste of that in just a little bit also. We're going to give you a little sample, a used bin premiere, as it were.
If you will. Of sorts.
Of Fly From Here. So you could get a little sample of what that's all about and what to look forward to on July 12th. So we're going to find all about what's going on in the Yes Camp. We're also going to catch you up later this evening about our delightful, more than delightful, exciting experience.
You need to issue an immediate retraction.
I retract the delightful and impress upon you the exciting portion of our experience at the Time Machine Rush Tour, which came through Los Angeles last week. So we're going to fill you up. We're going to fill you up. We're going to catch you up on all of that, and later this evening we'll fill you up with all the news you can handle. We'll catch you up on the news when we welcome the lovely Rachel, the black metal warrior, princess of death and all things evil, Esquire, goddess of black metal, sorcery. I like sorcery.
I like adding sorcery to her name.
Wow, that's pretty large. Yeah. So we're going to do all of that.
She was at the show with us on Wednesday night, along with husband Christopher.
Yes,
was with us, and we had a fabulous evening, as you only could at a Rush show.
That's right.
And I'll tell you something. It just feels like they were here last week. Well, mainly because they were. But it felt like they were here not too long ago, and mainly because they were.
At a place not too far from here, as a matter of fact. But it's called Gibson Amphitheater.
That's right. But that's a weird feeling because, we're used to 2 years in between Rush shows, and this was like 6 months.
That's right.
So
it was like a flashback in many ways.
Almost to a T.
Yes.
If you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, had a great time at the Rush show. And we've got lots of stuff. I don't know about you, Mama, but I have been listening to a ton of stuff this week.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm excited to talk a lot about that.
I want to hear all about that. And
if you missed our Jeff Tate interview last week, this show is only for smart people.
and fish with legs.
So if you don't qualify, well, I can't help you. You have to listen to the podcast.
That's right.
I guess that's for the Not Completely Smart People podcast.
And speaking of podcasts, we know we're a little bit behind. We've had some technical issues on the podcast front, but we're going to catch that all up very soon. And that is a used bin promise, my friends. So very soon it's going to be like Christmas morning for all you podcasters.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Good times.
So we got that going on.
Which is nice.
And before we get into any of that other stuff, I think we should just dive right into this. Why don't we give the fine folks at home a little sample of something off the upcoming Yes release. This is the first record of new Yes music in a decade. How about that?
That's 10 years.
That's 10 years. You do the math. 10 years, man.
10 years.
10 years.
10 years.
So we're going to give you a little bit of We Can Fly From Here from the new record. And when we come back, should all the planets align and things fall into place, we will be joined by Chris Squire of Yes here in the Used Bin.
Exciting stuff.
Thanks for joining us this fine Tuesday evening. And here's a little Yes with We Can Fly From Here.
Of this airfield, the old prop shaft and liner stand, altimeters reading 0, formless memories lingering. Nights are cold on this airfield. I sit alone and watch the rain down.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome
to
back.
Beersman Radio. We are going. We need a couple extra minutes just to get Chris on the line. So
That would be Chris Squire, by the way. Chris
Yeah.
Squire of Yes, our featured guest this evening.
So I'm going to try him again in just a minute.
Okay.
And in the meantime, that was "Fly From Here."
Yeah.
Pretty good tune.
Pretty good tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do the full record review later tonight.
Oh, yeah?
I'm excited.
You're frothing at the bit.
I
as they
am. I
say.
really am. I listened to this record a lot this week.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Well, let's talk about it. We got a moment. We got a moment here.
I'm going to wait.
You're going to wait.
I am.
Okay.
I'm making an executive decision.
All right.
Hang on. Let me check with myself. Okay, I checked with myself.
All right.
And I feel the need to wait.
Did you check yourself too?
Yeah. Well, I check myself before I wreck myself. So I do that sometimes.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? Did you listen to the record this week?
I did.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
10 years.
Well, I'm a huge Yes guy.
Right.
So whenever there's new Yes material, I listen to it a lot.
Right.
And the first time I saw these guys was in 77, 78, and I remember going, I guess it was like the Going for the One tour. All right, I'm old. But I remember going to see them way back then. And, in the 70s, they were the pinnacle of sort of arena progressive rock alongside Genesis, who weren't even really Genesis yet at that point. They were still sort of this art rock band that were just still on the rise with Phil Collins newly out front. And it was before they were churning out any kind of hits. But the Yes of the 70s was about as big as you could get. I mean, we're talking Zeppelin big or Stones big. They were one of the biggest touring bands around. And then in 1980, it was very controversial because I remember I went to the Drama Tour, and this was the first time that in the history of Yes they had ever done anything without Jon Anderson. And this is when they Chris Squire and Steve Howe and Alan White had hooked up with a couple of the members of the Buggles. You remember the Buggles? Video Killed the Radio Star? Well, they put together a new lineup of Yes for the Drama record, and when they toured that, it was sort of a controversial tour because, of course, Jon Anderson wasn't there, but also it was the first time that they were going to be playing sort of abbreviated versions of things and a lot more of their shorter songs. So that was the first tour without any of the Close to the Edge, Tales of Topographic Oceans, Gates of Delirium, Awaken, any of that stuff. And they were concentrating more on the classic hits, and so it was an interesting tour. And word is that we've got Chris Squire on the phone. So let's go to the phones. And ladies and gentlemen, I do believe that we have on the line Mr. Chris Squire of Yes. Chris, how you doing tonight?
I am here, present and correct.
Well, it's a treat to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you're on the East Coast, so this is we appreciate you staying up late for us tonight.
Oh, that's okay. It's not that late.
Okay.
Like 10:20 or something. But
Okay, in rock and roll time, I guess it's still early for you.
yeah, it's still, yeah. But it's not so early in the local restaurant time, though. But anyway, no problem.
Okay.
What are we doing?
Well, we're going to be talking about the new record. We want to talk about Fly From Here and how that was put together and what some of your plans are. Before we get to any of that, one of the things we always like to ask our guests just to start things off is, what have you been listening to lately? Other than Yes, what's in your MP3 player or CD player these days?
I've just been through a process of making a new album.
Right.
And usually during that time, I'm not really listening to anything, but I generally listen to what's around, and I have XM radio and Sirius and that stuff, and I flip between the channels, and sometimes I check out the top 20, and sometimes I check out the deep tracks from Grateful Dead, and
Yeah.
So I have a pretty good overall knowledge of what's out there, and I think people are doing good things. and they're being successful at it.
Yeah.
And that's the way it'll always be.
That's the best thing about Sirius XM is you can really go from Britney Spears to Metallica in the flip of one dial.
Exactly. It's really good. And
Yeah.
then you can tune into 70s classic rock and
Yeah.
80s rock, because, it's kind of like, it's good being specific like that.
Yeah, I would agree completely.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of classic rock, let's talk about Fly From Here, because this is a pretty classic sounding record. Both Brad and I have had the opportunity to listen to the record, which we want to let our listeners know this comes out in the States on July 12th, and I believe it was just released already in Japan. Is that right?
I believe so, yeah. The record company obviously had some deal where the Japanese get to feast on the product first.
Very nice.
God knows why, but there we are.
Very nice. Well, we've been hearing a lot about the making of this record long before it was ever released, and one of the things that a lot of Yes fans are excited about is the fact that you're revisiting Fly From Here, which actually was a tune which, and I'm dating myself here, but I saw the drama tour, so I vaguely have a recollection of hearing this tune 30 years ago. And
Wow, yeah.
And of course now it's in a 23-minute format. So the first question is, with that being the lead track on the record, how did it evolve from a short tune to a sidelong Yes epic?
Well, it was never a short tune. It was always a long, like by most people's standards, a record, 7 minutes or something like that. So originally it was one of the tracks that was about to be included in the drama album, but because of the restrictions and back in those days when you were having to use vinyl to get the record promoted, you could only get 20 minutes of good quality sound on each side of a vinyl, and Fly From Here didn't make it onto that album, and so it's always just been left in the wings, unfinished business, until we got back to it.
Got it.
Yeah.
And of course, back in those days, this was the drama record. The drama period was of course where you teamed up with the two guys from the Buggles, Trevor Horn, who has now have an illustrious history as a producer, and Jeff Downs, who's done lots of work with Asia and lots of others. How did they come back to be in the fold for this record?
Well, Trevor Horn, of course, and I last year discussed the idea of making a new album together, and we've always been, pretty close, in the fact that our tastes are very similar, and it's almost like we're almost an interchangeable being, but which makes it very easy to be produced by him.
Yeah.
So, and Jeff, of course, was his buddy in the Buggles, which was an odd thing when Yes drafted those guys in 1980 to make the drama album, which turned out to be, musically very good.
Oh, it was excellent.
So, there we are. That's so they were both back working with us on the new album, and it's turned out really well for all of us.
Right. So just to touch back on drama for 1 second, you're right. It was not an obvious pairing for Yes and the Buggles to come together. How did that first come about? Who suggested that you?
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
So you were aware of Video Killed the Radio Star and.
Yes, I did know it was the biggest selling single record of all time.
Okay.
So you were up to date even back then, is that's what you're saying, even without Sirius.
One couldn't help noticing that it was #1 in 48 countries.
Yeah, it's tough to miss.
Yeah.
Well, with Trevor back in sort of the production seat for this record, I'm curious, how much input did he have in the writing or arrangements of that track and some of the other tracks on this record?
Well, quite a bit. We all just opened our minds to being part of a group really that was all inclusive, and we all put our talents into it.
Okay. And as far as
meaning we were all very involved in all of the writing and all of the and the production decisions mainly left up to Trevor, but he and I worked very well together. So that's how that ended up.
I see. And as far as Jeff Downs, I know up until fairly recently, Oliver Wakeman was in the band. What was the sort of situation there of getting Jeff in and basically giving Oliver some time off, I guess? Or I'm not sure how that plays out.
Yeah, I mean, Yes is famous for his change of personnel.
Indeed.
And, so therefore, Trevor just said to me that he thought that we'd make a better piece of music if Jeff was involved, even though he had no problem with Oliver's talent or ability. Mm-hmm. But he just thought we'd make a sonically better sounding record with Jeff playing keyboards, and I have to confess he was right about that.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
And as long as we're sort of on the topic of bringing Jeff back in, and the fact that you were revisiting Fly From Here, was there ever any discussion of possibly having Trevor just reprise his vocal for the song?
Not really. I don't think it was that comfortable for him the first time he took on that role. So, owing to the fact he's had a lot of success as a producer, he wasn't going to jump back into that one.
I got you. It was not in his agenda to go out on tour and sting Starship Trooper anytime soon.
No,
okay.
He always thinks I twisted his arm in the first place. To get him to do it the first time.
Okay.
But there again, of course, he has great valuable experience of being actually in the band, as well as producing, at 90125, which of course was a huge album in the 80s. So, it's all, it's come full circle in a way, and it's great to work with him again.
Yeah. Right. Now, this is the first release of new material since Magnification, which by my math is about a decade without any new Yes album. Why wait so long?
We didn't really wait. It was just a force of circumstances. And, we were touring till about 2004, promoting the Magnification album that was released in 2001.
Right.
We went around the world doing that. Then we had a break. And then we were going to start up again in 2008 with Jon Anderson singing. But then, unfortunately, he got real sick. And, that's when we made the decision to bring in Benoit.
Right.
And then we needed a couple of years with him to get him into the paces of being the singer of Yes. And that worked out well. So then we turned our minds to doing new music. And whoops, there's 10 years gone.
Right. Was there ever thoughts of having Jon sing on the new music and do the new record? Did you have that discussion? And
nobody had that discussion.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the obvious question for a lot of old Yes fans is what is that relationship like now, and what happened when it came time to replace him?
Well, no, I mean, Jon has been in the band, out of the band, back in the band, out of the band. It's like, he has a somewhat transient sort of attendance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So. We'll see what happens. I mean, if you can't ask me a question like that right now, because the basic thing is that right now we have this new album, which we're all really proud of. We're going to go out on the road for the next couple of years, all around the world, promoting this music, which we're all very happy about.
Right.
And, after that, we can look at other ideas.
So it just sounds like this is just another chapter in Yes. Some of the guys are in, some of them are out. In this particular moment, Jon is out and Benoit's in.
Yeah, it's like a benching thing.
I like the transient thing that you have going on there. I'm gonna start using that with my wife when I don't come home. Listen, I'm just a bit transient. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm a transient husband. I'm in, I'm out, I'm in. I love that. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you a title too.
Yeah, I wish I could say that to my boss.
Yeah, right.
I want to be a transient worker.
Nice. Now, speaking of the tour that you alluded to, I know that you've got some summer dates in the U.S. planned with Styx. My guess is that's going to be somewhat of an abbreviated Yes show?
Yes, unfortunately it is. And we have the new album out, of course, but we will do a taste of it on the tour. And, we'll probably do a couple of up-tempo songs from the new album.
Okay.
And the rest of it will be, classic Yes stuff that people want to hear.
Great.
And I guess it'll be about 90 to 100 minutes, something like that.
Okay, good.
That's a very short Yes set.
That's a short Yes.
For Yes, that's a couple of songs, ideally.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, we're not going to be doing those songs.
Right, yeah.
Is the plan after the summer dates at some point to do a full headlining tour?
Yes, that is the plan, and I don't have the definite end plan in front of me for that, but I'm sure that's going to be solidified soon.
Gotcha. Okay. And with regard to when you guys do a tour, whether it's a co-headline thing with Styx or your full-blown 3-hour show, how does the band approach the set list with such a wealth of material and as you mentioned, some long songs?
Yeah, totally differently. And as I just said to you, we're in rehearsals starting today for the tour with Styx, and we're just going to have to hash it out, which way we, come up with a set that's suitable for that show.
Right.
Yeah.
And
but we'll inject some of the new material because that's always invigorating
of
for
course.
us and for the audience to know that you're on that path. And then when we get into August, we'll be doing a longer show.
Got it. And at that point, are you considering revisiting any of the epics? I mean, would we hear like a Tales of Topographic Oceans or Close to the Edge, or is that sort of a chapter that you...
Well, no, we'll be mainly focused on promoting the new record, which one of the tracks on that is 23 minutes long.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, that's what we'll be focused on, and we may have a couple of surprises on certain shows, with some classic pieces, but at the moment we're going to get through this tour,
right.
and then we move on and we formulate the next part, which I think will be a lot more stylized to a Yes show with production and Roger Dean input and
Right.
All that stuff.
It amazes me how busy you guys are after all this time. I mean, Yes is just is vital. You're out there working. I mean, are you tired? I mean, because it doesn't sound like it to me.
Listen, I have a 2.5-year-old daughter. That
Right.
makes me fucking tired.
Yeah, I hear you. I have a 17-month-old son, man. I get tired. I'm with you. I think I'd rather be on the road, maybe with you.
Exactly.
You got a job for me? No?
Yeah, but I actually have her on the road with me as well.
Oh, you get the double whammy.
So are we done?
All right, Chris, I know that you're tired, and I know that we got you for a short time, and we appreciate you spending the time with us. We're all really excited for the new record and for the tour.
Just wanted to throw one thing at you, Chris. There's always talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and inducting some classic bands. And is that something that crosses your mind? And if that were to happen, would you have to get like all 86 people that were in the band on stage at once?
Actually, we figured it out yesterday, Jeff Downs and myself. There's actually 17 people.
Okay.
Different people who've been in Yes since the beginning. And yes, I would expect them all to be inducted. That would be
quite a scene.
Yes. Well, I think Parliament Funkadelic did it. Back when they got inducted into there. I think they have 45 people there. So Yes, for 17 is an easy thing to handle.
Right. Well, that's a Prague fan's wet dream.
Yes.
So.
One last thing. I know that you just released after a long time. Actually, you just released the DVD from back on the Union tour, and since right now with Fly From Here, we're in essence revisiting sort of the drama era to some degree. Was there ever any drama tour footage, and would that ever see the light of day?
No, you know what? I don't think there is. And of course, back in those days, we didn't realize really the importance of filming everything, which of course would have been a good idea.
Right.
I've never seen any,
Okay.
and no one's suggested to me that they have some, so I guess it just didn't actually get filmed. But it definitely got recorded, you know,
Okay.
at the Madison Square Garden show. That the original version of Fly From Here
Right.
it was recorded on the King Biscuit Flower Hour thing.
Okay.
But
Well, then.
anyway,
Then hopefully
sorry
you can.
about that.
Then thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure, and we want to let all of our listeners know that Fly From Here will be out on July 12th.
yeah, it's been really great talking to you guys too.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate the
I
time.
will see you soon.
Okay.
Bye
Take
now.
care.
All right. Bye-bye.
And there you go. That was Chris Squire from Yes.
From Yes,
Yeah, that's pretty good.
here in the used bin.
That's pretty good. I know he was trying to eat. 'Cause that was why he was getting ready to get off the phone. He told me earlier. He said that the restaurant was closing.
Oh, so he wasn't kidding about the restaurant?
No,
Oh,
no,
I
it
thought
was
that
no
was.
joke.
I thought
No.
that was a
No,
comic
'cause he was-
reference or something.
No, he was in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So with the time difference, they stopped serving.
Oh, can't
So-
have that.
Yeah, no. So he was. He wanted to make sure that he got to eat. And frankly, I can't blame him.
Yeah, we never like to come between our
man and his food.
our heroes and their meals.
Oh lordy! All right.
So how about since we're all in a bit of a Yes mood right now, how about we go to a classic Yes tune? And this is actually from the Union era. The Union Tour DVD that I alluded to a couple of minutes ago. This is the Union Tour live version of Heart of the Sunrise when they had like 8 guys on stage all at once. So that's got to be good. So here's a little bit of that.
This is what I say. Run away, baby. The fire from my stomach.
It's coming. Don't worry. It's coming.
Get away. Someone told me, gotta wake up and dream. Yeah, sounds good. Wake up and dream. Like in the sharp dream, in the distant dream of your heart. Love comes to you and you follow. Lose one arm to the heart of the sunrise. Sharp distance. How can the wind with its arms all around me? You lost on a wave, you're after. Dream on to the heart of the sunrise. Sharp distance. How can the wind with so many around me be lost in the city? Lost in eyes as you hurry by, counting the broken ties lead aside. Love comes to you, then after. Dream on to the heart of the sunrise. You're lost on a wave, but you're dreaming. Dream on to the heart of the sunrise. Sharp distance. How can the wind with its arms all around me? Sharp
Used Bin Radio. What are you listening to?
Well, looky here, what do we have? Another pretty thing.
It's Tuesday night,
Hello.
and you're in the used bin.
Hello.
You're in the used bin, brother man.
Hello. All right, everybody, welcome back into the used bin. That
And
was
now-
a good time with Chris Squire, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, we had to cut it a little short, but that's because the man wanted to eat.
Yes.
And you can't really argue
Can't
with
really argue with that.
that. But it's quite an honor to have Chris Squire in the used bin. It's pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
You know, we've been really lucky this last 2 months here, 3 months.
We've had a lot of good guests for you folks.
But legendary guests. I mean, like
Legendary.
guys that have been around a long time, like lots of history, you know. And I thought Chris was really great, and I can't wait to get him in here for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I think that'll be really a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Maybe when they do the full headlining tour, we can work that out. We can now safely give out the phone numbers. If you want to give us a call this evening, we are at 888-405-7440. We're taking your calls. We just didn't want to clutter up the lines during the Chris Squire portion of the evening. So give us a call or drop us an email at usedbinradio@usedbin.com. We'd love to know what you've been listening to and what's on your mind. And it sounds like that's exactly what we got going on here right now. So the question is, who's in the used bin?
Good evening.
Darren, what are you up to?
That was the shortest interview I've ever heard in my life.
I know.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it was 25 minutes long, so it wasn't the shortest interview I've ever heard in your life.
It's pretty close, though.
But pretty much the shortest on this show.
Yeah. I know what you mean, Darren. I hear you, brother.
We could have done that interview for 6.5 hours with Chris Squire, but yeah.
But I thank you anyway. I hope one of these days, I'd like to know what he thinks of Getty and Rush. I've never seen that in the media.
You know, I got that. I saw your email, and I just knew where we were as far as our time constraints were, which is why I didn't ask the question. But it's a reasonable question for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of the English prog greats, if you will. I don't really get too much of their take on Rush.
I know
it's almost like it's a different genre in their opinion.
Yeah, but I know that what you said, Darren, in your email was that you've seen Getty complimentary of Chris, and I know Chris was influential in some of Getty's playing. But you're right, I haven't heard it the other way around. So that's a good question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same with Robert Plant either.
Robert Plant.
How so?
How so?
Well, because back in 2008, Getty and Alex were on the hour, that's what it was called for. It was called the George Strombolomga Show.
Yeah.
So Getty and Alex, Getty talked about going on a trip to Morocco.
Yeah.
And meeting Robert Plant at the same hotel he was at, and Alex meeting Jimmy Page at the Toronto show that Page and Plant played in 1998, which stemmed from Getty meeting Robert in Morocco.
Wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall for that conversation? What is that like? Alex Lifeson and Jimmy Page trading guitar tips.
That's the one I want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Getty and Robert one's probably cute, but the Alex and Jimmy one, that's the conversation you want to sit in on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
It would be like, well, you know, when I was recording Working Man, it was really reminiscent of your guitar sound on Zeppelin 2, and he'd be like, I don't hear that at all.
But wouldn't it be great if it was the opposite? Jimmy said, you know, I was listening to Working Man, and it was very similar to Zeppelin 2, I think. Yeah. That would be like mind-blowing.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I always enjoy hearing those kind of stories when heroes from different groups are sort of giving each other accolades. I like to hear that kind of thing. So yeah, I would love to hear Chris Squire's take, and maybe next time around we'll get his take on Rush and find out what his desert island Rush pick would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else you got going on, Darren?
Well, 2 more days and
you're initiated.
Yeah.
2 more days and you have your full-fledged membership into the Rush Live Club.
Yeah, you could say that.
Nice.
Aren't you excited?
Yeah, well, you know, here's the thing. I'm looking forward to going.
Yeah.
But like I'm kind of excited, but not really. But
you will be.
There's something else now that's made me really want to go.
What's that?
That's relating to this.
Okay.
Well, today is the 30th anniversary of the passing of Terry Fox.
Right.
And I was watching that movie I told you about a few shows a while back, that made-for-TV movie where they reenacted his run.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex posted a trivia question on the Terry Fox Foundation Facebook page about which album the band gave him.
Yeah.
They had the 3 answers. One was 2112, Permanent Waves, or Power Windows.
Mm-hmm.
So Permanent Waves was the right answer, but can you imagine Marathon if it came out like 12 years earlier?
Yeah, that would have been perfect. That's funny. What was their relationship? What was the Terry Fox? I mean, obviously, I know they're Canadian and all that stuff, but I mean, what was the relationship with that band and Terry Fox?
Well, I don't know. That's the thing, and that question was the only thing that came up. I've never seen it in printed media or anything like that. I'm sure because of what Terry Fox was becoming as an advocate for cancer.
Right.
Trying to find a cure for cancer. It's running across Canada and meeting all these famous politicians. And, of course, apparently I guess he must have been a Rush fan, and they found out about it, and that's how they got in touch, I guess.
Right. Well, that's excellent.
So,
charitable young men, those 3 Canadians are.
Very charitable.
We love them. God bless them.
Yes. Well, you're going to have a good time. Trust me, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah. Well, you know what's going to be happening is when we go to the show on the 30th, Barb, her husband Ron, and some American Rush fans that Barb met through Facebook that she's been to some shows with, and some of them are from Rush as a band too. The plan is I want to have them all watch the Terry Fox movie at her house, because this is Barb's 30th anniversary of first seeing the band back in 1981 in Vancouver.
Well, that's cool.
Well, the movie kind of reenacts that period where it's like, if you've seen Barb's picture, Brad, you have her on Facebook as a friend, I think.
I do, we're friends, yeah.
We're friends. We're friends.
Blends right in.
Yeah. Well, look, Darren, you're going to have the time of your life, and I don't want to ruin anything for you, but they're going to play Tom Sawyer. So, that's the only thing I'm giving away.
Spoiler alert.
That's the only thing I'm going to tell you. Otherwise, it's going to be unbelievable. I promise you.
Yeah. Well, I've got a big sign I'm going to make for Marathon.
Oh, good. That's very nice.
And it's about Terry Fox too. So
good deal.
Very nice.
All right, Darren, we got to roll, man. You have a great time. I'm excited. I'm going to be thinking about you actually because, like I said, you get your membership into the club in a couple of days. So good job.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night, Darren. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, for someone who's a huge Rush fan, and Darren is he's a huge Rush fan, to finally get his chance to see him.
That's big.
That's exciting.
That's big. I just always enjoy watching people have their first Rush concert experience. That's why I told you last week how it was so exciting for me going to the Monday night show here in Los Angeles, because I got to take our friend Sibel, who's been a fan for a while, but sort of on the fringe. It wasn't like she was a flag waving, card carrying member. She just knew the tunes, really liked the band, and always wanted to see him, but never got around to it, because every tour she would ask me if anybody had an extra free ticket.
Right.
And there just aren't a lot of extra free tickets floating around for Rush. So this time
don't exist.
She finally pulled the trigger and coughed up the cash, and it was great just to watch it through her eyes and see her get so excited. So Darren's going to have a great time.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited for Darren.
Yeah.
He's a big Rush fan.
Absolutely.
You should see the things that I see from him on Facebook.
Oh, should I be scared?
No, just he just has great Rush facts that I get all the time. You know what I mean?
Nice.
About maybe different people that they've met or different encounters that they've had or with other people. And he's a card carrying Rush fan.
Absolutely.
So we could probably let the cat out of the bag a little bit too.
Yes, let's let it out.
About next week, we are going to have the return and I repeat, the return of the founder of rushasaband.com, Mr. Ed Stenger. He will be back on the show, and we will do a recap of the Time Machine Tour and everything relating to Rush and Clockwork Angels, the new album, and all that sort of good stuff.
I see.
So when you get so next week, Ed Stenger, rushasaband.com, he will be live on this very radio program.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so if you guys have any Rush related questions
or Rush stories, let's hear your groovy stories. Give us drop us an email or give us a call next week about what happened to you on the Rush tour. Did you have like a backstage situation?
When I was there, they played all of Moving Pictures.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Oh my God!
That's my Rush experience.
That must have been a crazy night for them to do that.
They played YYZ.
Oh my God! You're kidding me, right? Because they never do that.
Okay.
Oh boy.
No, I'm not kidding.
Oh boy.
I know.
But we'd love to hear from the Rush contingent and let us know what your experience was on the Time Machine Tour.
Yeah. We got a ton of emails for Chris Squire questions,
Yes,
and I know
we did.
I alluded to it with Darren, with Darren's question. So I apologize for really not asking a lot of them. We got in a few of them, but we couldn't get in a ton because there was stuff that obviously Joe and I wanted to get to, and again, Chris was obviously limited with time. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get him back on the show when he's got some more time, and then we can ask all the crazy cuckoo fanboy questions that Joe and I want to ask, and all the stuff you guys want to know.
Yeah.
So
there were also a lot of topics that we didn't even get to. Things like, did you know he's got another, besides the Yes record, he's got another record coming out sometime soon that Chris Squire teamed up with Steve Hackett, formerly of Genesis.
Is that right?
So they've got some kind of project in the works.
Do we know what that is?
I guess it's not even in the works. I guess it's finished, but I don't have a release date for that. But hopefully that'll be sometime later this year.
Is that maybe an instrumental record or not?
I have no
Probably
idea.
Not.
I have no idea what to expect from that. That could go a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Especially because Steve Hackett has such a diverse variety of musical styles. That could be anything from acoustical classical or monstrous production prog. That could go a lot of ways. It could be pop. I mean, Steve Hackett was in GTR, for God's sakes. So
I don't know where
that could go a lot of different ways.
It's funny, I said it when we had Chris on the air, but he's a busy dude.
Absolutely.
I mean, he really is a busy guy. He's got a lot going on.
And after the July 12th release of Fly From Here, he'll be even busier because they've got the summer tour starts on July 4th in Camden, New Jersey, and they'll be touring with Styx. And then in November, around the 8th of November, they start their European tour. And as he mentioned and announced tonight, sometime after that, they will then mount a full Yes headlining traditional 3-hour tour.
How old is Squire? Was he born 46?
I don't know.
I'll tell you.
Okay, you Google him. I do know, as long as we're talking about what a long and illustrious career he's had. Even before he was in Yes, he was in a band called The Sin.
48.
He was born in 48.
So we'll do the math, Joe.
He was in a band called The Sin, and they used to play around London. They got some notoriety. Actually, did a record or two. But the thing that I always found interesting about that, and unfortunately we didn't have enough time for him to tell this story himself, but he used to tell the story on stage every once in a while about how The Sin would play these gigs in London, like at the Marquee Club, and they would co-headline with Jimi Hendrix. And there's this great story he sometimes tells about how one night he showed up for the gig, and The Sin went on stage, and down in the front row was all the members of like the Stones and Zeppelin, and I think a couple of the Beatles were there. I mean, just this, Eric Clapton was there. The front row just looked like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And come to find out that
you mean Madonna was there?
She was there too.
And Grandmaster Flash?
That's what I'm saying.
Because who else is in the Rock and Roll Hall
But
of Fame?
they weren't necessarily there to see The Sin. They were there to see some hip new American guitar player named Jimi Hendrix that night. But I always thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, he's 63. 63. He is a busy guy.
Yeah.
63 with a 2.5-year-old kid.
How about that?
We'll just let that one marinate for a minute.
Let's let that marinate.
He's 63, 2.5-year-old kid, and touring his ass off with the kid. That's nuts.
How about that?
That's just kooky, man. That's nuts. Well, I have to turn this up just a hair. Nice.
You rocking?
Yeah. This is like... So we just went from English progressive rock to American blues. The most interesting thing, and too bad we couldn't just sort of elaborate on it, which you and I talked a little bit about when we were playing the Heart of the Sunrise, was the fact that it's not, he didn't really close the door on the Jon Anderson era of Yes.
He really didn't.
No.
And understandably so. I mean, right now he's concentrating on the current lineup and the current tour and the current album.
But he said he'd reevaluate.
His head is in the now. But yeah, at some point, as with, and he alluded to this too, as with so much of Yes's history, there has been an open door policy.
Yeah.
And so just because Trevor Rabin leaves after Big Generator doesn't mean he can't come back for Talk.
Right, of course.
And just because Rick Wakeman leaves after Tales from Topographic Oceans doesn't mean he can't come back in for Going for the One.
But that's the thing, though, is like, yes,
or Jeff Downs,
yes, maybe known
a 30-year
absence
from drama till now.
But this is Jon Anderson.
Yeah,
like,
agreed.
It's the voice of Yes. When you listen to the record, that's what you're sort of hearing. And believe me, that's all the hubbub and chatter. You know what I mean? Is Benoit David in, Jon Anderson out, and it's controversial, and people aren't happy about it. And I think, and I guess we can get into some of this now, but I think once you hear the record, it's a pretty fucking good record.
Let's talk about the record.
Let me tell you, there's nobody been more like, I've been extremely cynical when it comes to this version of Yes. And so now that I've sat with it and I've listened to it, and I listened to it a lot last week.
Good.
It's a pretty good record. I mean, it's a really good record.
It's a really good record.
Yeah. And the thing is that I'll get right to it. I mean, Fly From Here, I think, is excellent. But the song on the record is the final tune, which is Into the Storm. And
you like that, huh?
I love it. I think it's the best song on the record. And it's just really good. And if once you get it, I would go right to that and then go into Fly From Here and then go into the whole record. I think that song is really great. It's almost 7 minutes long or something. It's really good. And my only issue with it is, to me, Benoit David, he sounds like he was really focused on hitting the notes. Nothing sounds like just natural and flowing. Everything sort of sounds like a little bit like he's thinking about it. So it sounds like he's in his head.
Okay.
I feel like his voice is thin. It definitely is not like that full big Jon Anderson voice, and that's fine. He's not Jon Anderson. But all those comparisons are, I don't know, I just don't think they're exactly right on. I mean, he does sound like Jon Anderson because he's got that high voice, and not a lot of people can sing like that, period. But at the end of the day, he ain't Jon Anderson.
See, so, I went into this record with a totally different approach. I really avoided any of the comparisons to Jon Anderson. I really approached this as a comparison to drama. That's how I approached this record, because it's not Jon Anderson, and it's, he's got a signature DNA that he puts on anything he does,
right,
which, according to Chris, is sort of transient, which is a great quote. But no, I compared this much more to drama because, for one, the 23-minute song essentially is a drama track, and one of the other tracks on side 2, which is Life on a Film Set, is really basically a Buggles song from back in the early 80s. So I approached it more as a comparison to drama. Having said that, drama is a bit heavier, and maybe that was just part of the time. I mean, if you listen to Machine Messiah, or the unbelievable dexterity of Chris's bass riff in Tempest Fugit from 1980, those became classics pretty much overnight for me, despite the fact that was the precedent album of No Jon Anderson.
Right.
This is not as much of a precedent. It's just it just feels a little bit more removed from the 70s and the 80s, yes, from when drama came out.
Yeah, but this is this is an extremely quality record.
It is. And the production on it is really good.
Well, even just the songs are really good.
Yeah.
Like, all the songs are very quality. I mean, it's important because I've been, like I said, I've been really hard on it without hearing it. I was really...
You said hard on it.
Yeah, I was. I was very hard on this record. I almost didn't want it to succeed, you know? Yeah. But it's a very quality record. It's a really good Yes record.
Yeah,
and it's important. It's important that I say it again because I'm going back on what I originally thought.
Yeah,
it's hard for me to do.
Okay,
but it's a really good record.
All right,
yeah,
and David Lee Roth is a really good frontman.
Well, he is for McDonald's. He's a great pitch man for McDonald's. Put a red nose on him and you call him Ronald.
Oh, boy. I do love the production on this record. It's very clean. It's very crisp. It's very glossy. And it sounds really rich. I think the title track is the way they approach any of their epics. It's got ebbs and tides and sort of softer ethereal parts in the middle and big crescendo at the end. It's the way they approach anything from Tales to Close to the Edge, Gates of Delirium. Just different.
It's a Yes. It's very Yes sounding.
And of the other tracks, interesting that you gravitated right to the last track. I really like that song, Into the Storm. That's the one that I think would probably appeal more than any other song on the record to fans of the 90125 period Yes fan.
Yeah, I could see where you would say that.
It's got more of a Trevor Rabin flavor than anything else on the record. Not that Trevor Rabin had anything to do with it. But what? You look confused. Everything okay?
It just sounded like it was distorting. No. I don't think it was the volume. I was like,
we're all good.
No, the song.
Yeah.
I was going to switch the tune because it just sounded like it was distorting.
Don't do it, pal.
But I like the song a lot.
Don't do it. But I think that song in particular would really appeal to the 90125 contingent because it's got that Trevor Rabin quality about it. One of the songs that I gravitated to right away was it's called "The Man You Always Wanted Me to Be." The thing that's unique about this, and I could be wrong, but I think it's the first time Chris has ever tackled lead vocal on any Yes record. Because Chris Squire is singing the lead vocal on this. And I can't remember another time when he sang the lead vocal. I think this might be the first. His harmonies have always been obviously an intricate part of the band. And so if you were a fan of his Fish Out of Water album back in the 70s where he did Hold Out Your Hand, great tune by the way, I think you'll gravitate to this song right away. And like most of the Yes albums, it's got the quintessential acoustic guitar piece from Steve Howe. You got to have one of those, and this one's called Solitaire. And as I mentioned, Life on a Film Set, another great song on the record, which stemmed from an old Buggles song. And that, I think, all of those Buggles references and all those drama references is why I approached this a little differently. And I didn't try comparing this to Close to the Edge or Tales of Topographic Oceans or any of the classic Jon Anderson.
I don't think it was ever going to be that.
No.
I don't think they were... I don't think you could quite do that.
No.
But it's hard not to compare the voice. I mean, the voice is the first thing you hear, and it's the one that stands out the most.
That's fair.
And really, I mean, musically, it's such a solid Yes record.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's really good.
Absolutely.
It's just the voice when, even when he's in that low register, when he's in the chest voice on some of the parts in Fly From Here, even that part, it's like sounds so lazy to me. Like I just don't like the way he sings on that stuff. But again, what I find most interesting about our interview with Chris is how he leaves that door open for reassessing after the record and the tour.
Right.
And as I can appreciate the fact that he's out there working a record, promoting a record that's not out yet. So he doesn't really want to talk about is Jon Anderson ever going to be in or out again. However, the fact that it's not like look, I'm not talking about that shit. I didn't get that vibe at all.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
That's
so
fair.
I'm pleased
you gotta
to
live
hear
in the
that.
moment.
Yeah. But again, he could have said, I don't know nothing about it. I'm talking about this. He didn't really say that. He just said something you reassess when you're done.
Yeah.
Which I can appreciate. And again, this is a solid record to tour behind. They're not out there touring behind, a greatest hits that Benoit David re-sang all the vocals for.
Or a box set or something like that.
They didn't pull
it's
a
not
Journey.
like that. Right.
Yeah, so it's very impressive
they got impressive new material, and they're going to go out and they're going to tour it. I on a personal note, I'm glad Jeff Downs is back in the band. No offense to Oliver Wakeman, but I mean he'd never recorded with the band. He was basically just the son of Rick Wakeman, and he got to fill in for a couple of tours and played the old material. Jeff Downs has credibility stability in this band for me, because Drama was an important record for them, and Jeff Downs' contribution was key back then, and I think it's really key on this record.
Yeah, we just got an email from Matthew who said that on Magnifications, Can You Imagine featured Chris Squire on lead.
Ah, okay. So there was one other one.
Yes, thank you, Matthew. Well done.
Thank you.
Good job.
Research.
That's right.
Nicely done.
Yeah. Well, listen. Solid record.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth listening to. Yes, fans will be happy with it.
Yeah.
I think all the scuttlebutt about.
Did you just say scuttlebutt?
I did.
Wow.
I did. That's my version of delightful.
Is that like like hoopla?
No, it's like hootenanny.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All the hoopla.
Yeah. No, I like scuttlebutt.
Okay.
Yeah, scuttlebutt.
All the rigmarole.
I love that. Rigmarole is great. That's great. That's a silly word. Anyway, it's. I think Yes fans will be happy about it. So, good stuff there.
Good stuff there.
All right, what else you been listening to, homie?
Well, somebody was kind enough to hook me up recently with the first 10 Chicago albums.
Oh wow! I didn't realize I was getting the review now. Well,
yeah,
you bring it.
So I love me some Chicago, especially the early stuff. They had some great the great hits, and I'm not talking about
in particular the early stuff.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the Peter Cetera,
Karate Kid,
the Year of the Inspiration, or that.
Although I have to tell you, Joe, you are the inspiration.
Well, thank you.
You're the light of my life.
Wax on, wax off, Danielson.
Damn right.
I love some of that early stuff. Saturday in the Park, 25 or 6 to 4. That early stuff is great. One of my favorites is "Wishing You Were Here," which is an underrated track. But so I was diving into the first 10 Chicago albums, and a lot of the deep cuts
so fun
are really good. And I had never heard a lot of that stuff before, because I don't think I'd ever owned a full Chicago record other than a greatest hits,
right,
or a best of, or I have the anthology, but again, that's just all hits. So I'd never really dove into a full Chicago album before. It was really eye-opening. They were a great band. What happened to those guys?
They were better than great.
They were.
Yeah.
And
they really were.
What was really cool was, after I listened to some of those records, I did pull out the box set that I have, which, as I said, is mostly hits, but it has sort of the career retrospective of photos, and I was flipping through that, and it was cool seeing Chicago on the bill. They'd have like these old posters from like the early 70s, and they'd be on the bill at some festival with like Led Zeppelin, and and
because they were
Eric Clapton. It was like, wow, they were one of the real bands.
They were innovators.
Yeah,
dude, they really fused rock and jazz, and I mean not just because of the horns, but because of the arrangements. And those early songs are so they're like jazz songs, you know what I mean? And then they come in with these big guitars, and the vocals are just so spectacular. For me personally, and I've told you this 1,000 times, I'm so partial to the first Chicago record, Transit Authority. I think it's so great. It's totally underrated. Look at this. This is great. What's going on here? If you can only see. That was nice.
I just want to say the lovely Rachel is in the studio, and I just didn't want to stand with my back to her.
Fair enough. No, that's fair. That's reasonable.
So I had to arrange things, but now we're all good.
Yeah. So, for me, I just think Transit Authority is the quintessential Chicago record. And there's, I've pointed to that song Freeform Guitar, which is just, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's freeform guitar. It's just
right.
Who would have ever thought that's on a Chicago record? They incorporate horns so beautifully into rock music.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't argue with that. And then they sort of stopped.
Yeah.
When Peter Cetera took over and started churning out the AM hits, like the horns were like either non-existent or were not really part of the arrangements for the most part.
Yeah, I don't know.
They changed the format.
They just became a pop band.
Yeah.
And I don't know, whatever that's all about.
And it was all very generic.
Do you remember off the top of your head, Joe, the last tune on Transit Authority, the name of that last song? It's like 10.5 minutes or something.
That's not Dialogues Parts 1 and 2, is it?
It might be. I don't remember the name of it. It's just... It's such a great epic song. I mean, that song really, it's a true epic tale. And it's weird. You just don't think of Chicago in the words epic.
Right.
And I feel... it's sort of a drag. It's the people that it's the We Can Dance Genesis fans who. It's the same thing with Chicago.
Yeah, that's fair.
All you can think of is Peter Cetera in Chicago, you lose.
Yeah. Although, if we're talking about the quote-unquote epicness of Chicago in the early days, not a lot of bands had the balls to put out a double album as their debut.
Yeah.
And then a double album, I think, for the third. And then the fourth was a triple live album.
It was at Carnegie Hall, right?
Yeah. That's within the course of 4 albums, they had like 10 discs out there.
And look at the hits on the first 2 records. I mean, there's like a grip of hits that are still played on the radio today. 25 or 624, Color Me Mine, or
Color My World.
That same difference.
Yeah.
Both of those 3 songs were on there.
All that rigmarole.
That's right. The Scuttlebutt having to do with Saturday in the Park.
That's right.
All those songs are really the first few records.
A lot of hoopla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there. But, check this out. I think I told you this once before. I don't know. I saw a couple years ago, I think before we were on the air, actually.
Chicago and the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah. Did we talk about it on the air?
I don't know if we did, but I remember you talked and raved about that show.
Yeah. I didn't go. That wasn't a show I wanted to really go see, but it was Leah's friend Donna wanted to go to that show, so. I got us tickets, and we were over at the now Gibson Amphitheater, and it's the Doobie Brothers and it's Chicago, and I'm thinking, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to get with both these bands, especially because half the guys are over 90 now, and the other half aren't in the band anymore. So I had no clue sort of what you're going to get. But anyway, we go to the show, and the Doobie Brothers open up, and they were so good. They were
so good.
Dude, who would thought you would just say the Doobie Brothers were really good? Guess what? The Doobie Brothers were really good. And I was sort of more excited to see Chicago than anything else, but the Doobie Brothers were really good. And then Chicago came on, and they were really average. But they do this tour every year where they're playing big theaters or medium-sized theaters, or whatever the Gibson would be, 6,000 seaters.
Right.
So they do this every year. But I just thought to myself, a band like the Doobie Brothers with all those hits, and they jam, the Doobie Brothers, when they do these shows. I mean, you get all the hits, but they stretch it out a little bit. Like, the guys can still play, and they really can sing, and it's no Michael McDonald, obviously, but that doesn't matter.
Right.
Well, he didn't sing on all those big songs.
In a way, I guess you could almost argue that Michael McDonald had a similar impact on the Doobie Brothers that Peter Cetera did on Chicago, because he started churning out What a Fool Believes and Minute by Minute, and the more AM ready, pop friendly hits.
He had such a soulful voice. It seems like the Doobie went that way.
Yeah. And that was a far cry from things like Long Train Running and some of the rock that they
even
were putting
China Grove or any of those tunes. I just can't figure out for the life of me why the Doobie Brothers aren't like a real. I mean, obviously they make a good living doing what they do, but the Doobie Brothers should be like a real rock band. The Doobie Brothers should be playing places. They should be playing Bonnaroo.
Well,
get out there and fucking jam.
It's obvious. It's because the guys in that band, they're still bitter about being bootlegged by Rerun.
Yeah, well,
that's all I'm saying.
But they really weren't bootlegged because all it was popcorn.
That's right. So, anybody get that reference out there?
Yeah.
Send us an email at usebinradio@usebin.com.
Don't clog up the email box with that one. Anyway, yeah, I just think that a band like that could really become could become another pop culture hit.
Sure.
And I just can't figure out why they aren't.
I have a remedial Chicago question. If you know the answer, or if somebody wants to email me, and it's really obvious. Is Chicago from Chicago?
I don't think so.
I don't know for sure. It would seem like too obvious, because Boston's from Boston, right?
Yeah, but I think Chicago... Sticks from
and
Chicago,
America is certainly from America, but Asia is not from Asia.
I don't think so.
And UK was from UK. Never mind.
Yeah. And IQ is really smart. I don't know.
I don't know if they're from Chicago.
For some reason, I don't think so, but I could be wrong. Styx is from Chicago.
I know that they had to change the name after the first album because the actual Chicago Transit Authority intervened and had a cease and desist order.
Maybe they are from Chicago.
Maybe. And as long as we're talking Chicago trivia, did you know?
Yes.
That one of the members of Chicago,
I didn't know that,
was in the movie version of Hair.
No, I definitely did not know that. Who and what part?
I don't remember his name, but Treat Williams played the lead in the movie version of Hair,
right?
Along with what's her name, Beverly D'Angelo, better known from the Chevy Chase vacation films.
And Mrs. Garrett was in it.
Sure,
from Different
That's
Strokes.
right, she was.
I know.
But the blonde guy who hung around with.
The blonde with the long hair.
The blonde dude with the long hair. Who sang? He sang the song "Hair," right? In his jail cell.
But he was the one that did the masturbation song.
That's right.
He's sitting on the horse.
Well, where else are you going to sing a masturbation song but sitting on a horse?
Talking about cunnilingus on a horse is very weird.
It is very weird.
But it wasn't back then.
It wasn't.
Wow, that guy's in Chicago?
He was in Chicago. I think he might still be.
That is excellent trivia.
I'm here.
That really is excellent
I'm here all
trivia.
night. I'm here all night.
That really is good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
It's like the Jesus Christ Superstar thing.
With Ian Gillan?
No. Jesus Christ Superstar in the movie, Jesus Christ Superstar. Peter, the Apostle Peter, is played by Paul Thomas, who turned out to be one of the biggest adult film directors in the history of adult films.
Is that right?
That's true. And he sang.
He should have sang the Cunnilingus song on a horse.
He sang in the movie, and they cut his voice, and they overdubbed his voice with someone else, and he tried to sue.
Didn't know this.
I had a long talk with Paul Thomas one day, and I was so fascinated by it. It's like one of those things like when you're a little kid and your dad tells you a story that every time you sit down with him, you want him to tell you the same story.
Sure.
I'm like that with him. Whenever I saw him, tell me the Jesus Christ Superstar story again. So, yeah, he tried to sue and didn't win. But yeah, he is the Apostle Peter in Jesus Christ Superstar.
So that must have been Andrew Lloyd Webber's call to do that, right?
I know. I think it was the director that, and I can't. It was like I can't remember his name. Whoever directed that,
it's on the tip of my tongue.
Irvin Winkler?
No, I thought it was the same guy who did the Tommy movie, actually.
Oh, probably.
And I can't remember. Ken Russell?
Maybe. I don't know.
I think it might have been Ken Russell. He definitely did the Tommy movie. I'm not sure. We're so, we're on tangents on top of tangents now. This is great. I like this. But where did we even start it? Yes?
Of course. No, we started in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so there you go.
We're just full of trivia here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
lots of good stuff.
Right. Anyway, so you listen to a lot of Chicago.
I listen to a lot of Chicago. So all in all, that's been a good thing.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Sure.
Before we bail out on Chicago.
Yeah.
What of the 10? Did you have a favorite or
6?
Chicago's 6?
6.
Really? Why is that?
I don't know. Just good pacing, and it had more. Well, it had obviously a couple of the hits that I recognized right away. I think that's the one with "Wishing You Were Here," but it had deep tracks that immediately just grabbed me. So yeah, 6. And I love the fact.
Are you playing one tonight?
I'm not. I'm not.
I'm really.
You're ready for some Chicago tonight?
On.
All right, maybe next week I'll have to bring in a Chicago song that's never been played on the radio before.
We'll go crazy. By the way, Hermie, the great Hermie, sent an email saying that the original Chicago members met at DePaul University in
Chicago.
That's right.
How about that?
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
There you have it.
So there's our Chicago recap.
You had a lot of Chicago.
I had a lot of Chicago to listen to. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
you were just hanging out listening to Chicago.
I was hanging out listening to Chicago in 2011.
So great.
In between spins of the new Yes record and Elbow.
Yeah,
I want to talk about Elbow.
All right,
our good friend Michelle.
Live at the Aragon.
Live at the Aragon. She's a huge fan of Elbow. And
as is Stephen Humphries, by the way.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Elbow has a new record coming out, or I think it's out actually. Okay. And they have just started announcing their U.S. tour dates, and she is very excited about going, and suggested that I should go see Elbow, and I think they're here in September-ish or something like that.
Yeah.
So I had to do a little homework. Are you an Elbow fan?
I gave Elbow a shot, and granted, it was sort of a listen to it for a couple of days, and that was it. And I just didn't get it.
I think I'm on the same page as you.
Still?
I really want to get it. I really want to get it because she's so passionate about it, and we have so much music in common that I know exactly where she's coming from. It just hasn't hit me. Now, there's a couple of songs. She actually gave me like a list of like 7 or 8 songs that are like the go-to songs from the various records.
I'm assuming this is all like catalog stuff, not from the new record?
Right.
Okay.
Right, catalog stuff. One of them, oh God, I forget the name of the song, was a hit that I actually recognized right away, and I forget which one it was. But the guy's voice reminds me a lot of Peter Gabriel. And the overall production and songwriting reminds me a lot of Coldplay.
Yeah, I got that.
I'm not a big Coldplay guy, and I don't really love the last 15 years of Peter Gabriel's career.
Yeah.
So the mix isn't necessarily happening for me.
I get that. I really do. Here was the thing for me, which I remember, and I'd like to go and revisit it, because I'm with you. I kind of want to like it.
I want to like it. I want to go to that show and be like, I'm ready to hear those songs, but I'm not there yet.
I guess the thing with me was nothing just reached out and went, this is what you can, this is the memorable chorus, or this is that verse that the vocals are so great in, or here's that great music part that you just grab on, that you latch on to.
I wish I could remember the one song, because there was one song like that, and it was one I recognized right away. Probably played on local alternative radio, KROQ or something like that. But I recognized it right away, and that one song, which I can't remember the name, it sounded more like Keane.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah.
So that was the first song I heard, and I thought, this is going to be great. I'm going to love this. And then over the next, 8 or 9 songs, it never matched that again for me.
No bueno.
So I got to spend a little more time, and I will try. Because I want to get it. It's very similar. I had a similar experience a few years back when another one of my good buddies who hangs out with us at the Marillion conventions every year, and we were talking about tunes, and I asked the very unlikely question, hey, what have you been listening to? And he said, I've been listening to the Blue Nile. And this is another one of those bands that I guess in certain prog circles or alternative rock circles, in sort of the way Elbow, I guess, crosses over into both of those worlds a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess the Blue Nile is another one of those bands. And so he suggested a record, and I promptly picked it up, and I promptly put it on, and I promptly put it back on the shelf, because it just was no bueno. I just didn't get it.
I think Elbow lives in the Coldplay, Keane, Radiohead circle. Yeah. And I love Keane, like you. Love Keane. Can't get enough of that band. And I like the first couple Coldplay records. I really enjoy. And Radiohead for me, I like the old Radiohead. I don't like the new pop and click Radiohead. That's just been well documented on this show. How I feel about Radiohead. But Elbow for me, like you said, I'm with you. I really am with you. I think I'm on the same exact page. I really want to like it, and maybe you could forward me that list of songs. Yeah,
I definitely will.
I'd like to try the experiment.
She made a custom list of what she thinks were some of their strongest tracks, and things I assume that they would be likely to play. I don't think she was, giving me a grocery list of things that I'm never going to hear on the tour. Right. So I think it was more sort of homework.
Yeah, I think, it's fine. Just thinking back on it now, I think that I mentioned to somebody about how much I liked Keane, and they asked me if I'd heard Elbow, and I had never heard of Elbow, and they were disgusted with me. So I had to go and do my homework, and I didn't get it. But
it happens.
Yeah. So that's good. So you did Chicago, you did some Elbow?
I did some Chicago,
and you did some Yes.
I did some Elbow, and I did some Yes.
I listened to that Queensryche record all week.
Oh, good.
Along with the Yes record.
Okay, so what do you think?
And I have to say that I think you're right on about it.
Thank you.
I think I kind of really like it.
Yeah, it's very different, but if you
here's
approach it differently,
it's kind of not though. Well, I took what Jeff Tate said last week, and that this is sort of a modern day Empire type of record where it's not very filthy and dirty, and it's just a little bit more of a straight ahead rock record. Right. It doesn't have that evil tinge that Queensryche records have to them. I listened to it like that because even you made mention of that, and I think it's really good. Some of the songs are silly.
The one cabaret song.
I know what you're talking about, and I have to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I kind of like that one.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. It really wore on me. It's the one with the big trumpet.
Yes.
And, you know what? That song really kind of grew on me. I kind of enjoyed it, but the tune that really stuck out is the ballad, Hold On.
Yeah.
Man, that's a great song.
There's some good songwriting here. You can really latch on to this stuff.
Yeah.
My problem around the eras of Tribe and Q2K is while sonically they were a little bit maybe more similar to what they were doing
in the middle period.
Mm-hmm. The songs just didn't have legs for me.
Yeah.
I to this day I'd be hard pressed to really recall a lot of music off of those couple of records.
Yeah.
But this one, I'll listen to this.
Yeah, there's the thing with that Hold On song is the vocals on that are they get quite sinister. I mean, it really takes you. He really goes to that place. It's not quite the "gonna get close to you" place from Rage for Order, but it's fairly sinister. I mean, he's got such an unbelievable voice that when he writes a song like that, and it's really a piano-based song, and I can't remember the last Queensryche song that was really more piano-based than anything else. But this song really is, and it allows him to do so many things with his voice. And he sounds as good today, maybe better today than he ever sounded, I think. At least on album, he does. And that's going back, the EP is good, but he sounds young on those records. Like even
sure.
The Whales, you know what I mean? Even in, like Lady Wore Black, he's just fucking ripping it out.
Oh,
there.
sure. Take Hold?
Dude, just blowing it out.
Take Hold of the Flame?
He just blows it out at the end of that.
Those are some serious notes.
But now, I think he sings so much better now. He may not be able to hit those crazy cuckoo notes anymore, but just all in all, vocally, his range is so much better.
It's a more emotive voice, too, now.
Yeah.
You get more imagery, I think, off of the voice than just the the stellar acrobatics of it all.
It's true, and he's, like I said, he's got such a sinister way about singing. Like there's times where he gets into that chest voice or his middle voice, and he belts it out almost operatically. Where you go, dude, it's very sinister. It's a little evil. It's a tinge of evil. And the thing I remember thinking to myself is, I'm one of the smart people because I'm getting it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You felt good about that, didn't you?
I did. I felt like for the first time in my life, like I'm one of them.
Nice.
Because truthfully, we all know in this room, I'm not the guy. I'm certainly not the smart one here. But I was listening to the record, and as I'm getting it, I felt maybe a couple extra points on the IQ.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And then you listened to some IQ, right?
I did.
Okay, good.
I did. Subterranean.
Very nice.
Anyway, yeah. I dug it. It's a very quality record. It's maybe an acquired taste. This Queensryche record.
That's fair. That's a fair statement.
But I would certainly recommend anybody that's holding out and that certainly has a preconceived notion of what a Queensryche record should sound like to give this thing a few listens.
Yeah.
I told you this last week. I felt like that about Empire because coming off of Operation Mindcrime, when they put out Empire, it just felt so simple and. It felt very simplistic, and I wasn't ready for the pop side of Queensryche.
Right.
But, it's funny. Record with an open mind.
It's funny the way history, will paint something like that. Thinking of Empire now as simple is sort of a stretch of the imagination. But at the time, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Just like you could argue that after 2112, A Farewell to Kings was pop and simple to a degree.
Yeah.
Which in retrospect, what does that even look like?
Yeah, no, you're right. That's a great statement.
I mean,
that's very true.
You're coming off of Temples of Syrinx and Discovery and Presentation, and you're hitting people with Madrigal and Closer to the Heart.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes the run that U2 had during Unforgettable Fire and Joshua Tree so impressive. Because to make the first one, you go, that's amazing, but you can't follow it up generally with something that's that heavy and that is that great. Most bands can't quite do that,
right?
Not that Farewell to Kings isn't great, but it's different.
It's different.
Unforgettable Fire and Joshua Tree. Those are perfect records, back to back.
Yeah,
they nailed it with that.
Yeah. And very consistent from one record to the next.
Yeah.
It wasn't a huge departure. They just got the formula and maybe even tweaked it a little bit and got it even a little better, arguably the second time from a studio standpoint.
You know, I wonder what would have Mindcrime 2 sounded like if they did it right after Mindcrime?
I think it would have sounded heavier, and if I can go out on a limb here, I think the ending would have been a little bit more bombastic, because I wouldn't say it's a problem, but a point of interest is the fact that this epic piece that took 2 albums to explain a story ended on such a sort of an ethereal note, you know? And so I think if it had come out right after, I think it would have ended on a much more sinister and bombastic note.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a
and it would have set up for Mindcrime 3.
True, yeah. Is it hard for you? Was it hard for you, as it was for me, to wrap your head around Mindcrime 2 because it came out so long after Mindcrime?
Was it hard to wrap my head around? It was hard to wrap my head around the fact that they were revisiting the topic after so long.
Without Chris DeGarmo. But when I heard it, a few of the tracks, you know, popped off. You know, the Ronnie James Dio song, and the opening track. What was it? I'm American. Yeah, I'm an American. Right.
A couple of things
that
popped.
Was the single.
Yeah, popped right away. And I got to say, when I saw them perform the 2 albums in their entirety live, on that Mindcrime 2 tour, it really sort of gelled for me then, because they spelled it out for you, you know, with actors and scenes, and you know, it was almost like a play.
Yeah.
But they really kind of spelled it out, and you could, within the course of a 3-hour show, you could really kind of hear more similarities than just putting on 2 unrelated discs.
But that was the problem for me, was the fact it came out so long after that if you don't listen to them sort of back to back, you know, then it sounds like a very different record.
Yeah, no, it definitely does.
I remember when I saw that the Queensryche tour right before Mindcrime 2, and they at the end, and I can't remember the name of the tour now. Is that Q2K?
It might have been the Q2K tour, but that was that the one when they were doing
Mindcrime in its entirety?
Mindcrime in its entirety.
Yeah, they were redoing it.
And
that's why
they ended with just playing the music.
Right. They played "I'm an American."
Of an American.
Yeah,
I'm an
they
American
left the stage
with that. Right. They just played it through the house PA.
Yeah, and I remember listening to it, and even then, it didn't sound quite the same. You know what I mean? And it took me it took me a while for it to click. But I'm with you. When we saw that show together, and it was tremendous, and it was quite a vocal feat to be able to sing both of those records back to back. But it kind of clicked then. It just didn't click when it came out.
And that Dio segment was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it's great. Was that the Chase?
The Chase.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
That was pretty large.
You know, we never asked Jeff about his relationship with Ronnie. Actually, I don't know if I would have gotten into that. I'm afraid of the answer we would have gotten. He was like a fish with legs.
Oh, I'm sure he had nothing but respect for Ronnie. I think that's fair.
I know, but he's never listened to a Dio record. He doesn't have time.
Okay, now.
Listen, I enjoyed that interview tremendously, and I think Jeff was fantastic.
Yeah.
I really do. I thought he was... I mean, I'm teasing him, but I thought he was tremendous, and I think it's again, just to wrap it up, it's a very good record, and you have to give it some time. You have to listen to it with an open mind.
Yeah, agreed. All right. So, wow, we've listened to Elbow in Chicago and Queensryche and Yes. Pretty eclectic little playlist.
Rach, what have you been listening to?
Caught her off guard.
I know.
She was in mid-sip.
I timed it perfectly. I totally did it on purpose. You and your Pittsburgh Penguins shirt.
Classic.
A classic. It is a classic.
It is.
Yeah.
It's falling apart.
I like it. Old school.
I checked out the David Lee Roth album.
Oh, you're kidding. Good.
Nice suggestion.
All right.
I wish I had my notes with me. I had those out. I was actually going to talk to him about him last week.
Right.
When I called in. But this week, it's been kind of mellow on the music front. When we went to Rush...
Mm-hmm.
We had my mom come to sit.
We went to Rush.
My mom left yesterday. She got sick.
Oh no.
She got sick and was sick at our house for the whole week. So Yeah.
What a drag.
Yeah.
We're just off the top of your head. Skyscraper? You were sort of anti-skyscraper here.
Not that I was anti. It was just my thought process of David Lee Roth solo. Is like you,
right?
Your thought processes of David Lee Roth. Period.
Yeah.
You know, that's when his heyday, when like I said, the coke was taking over.
Yeah. Silly, goofy.
To say the least.
Yeah.
And it was, those videos were looking pretty
goofy,
to say the least.
Colorful.
Colorful. They were not delightful. No, so I was scared, and I didn't care for any of the singles of his solo album, so I just never kind of went into that territory. I stayed away.
Yeah.
And kudos to you two. Thank you.
Nice. Give me the brother some. I'm very proud of Joe and I.
And you made my husband quite happy.
Yeah, well, I know Chris loves that record.
Well,
he's a fan.
And he loves Dave,
yeah.
period.
Well, that's a whole nother story.
Well, yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm gonna give away a little secret, actually. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the wizard behind the curtain.
Okay.
When Joe and I made our very first demo tape for Used Bin Radio to try to have
back in the old days.
Yeah, to try to get somebody to put us on the air.
Thanks, Rich.
Right. This is the demo that we sent to Rich, and that Rich liked enough to put us on the air. Anyway, or at least he just thought we were funny. But anyway, during that demo tape, there was a segment that we planned out, which was the Sammy versus Dave segment. And in that segment, we had Chris call in. And I remember having that conversation and thinking to Chris is such a passionate Dave fan. Like, he's a hardcore Dave fan, and it's all on our little demo of our argument about Sammy versus Dave. And that's pretty good. I just remember having that conversation, thinking we're not really on the radio now. This is exactly the conversation we would have in our living room. We would have it on the way to a concert. We would have it on the way home from a concert. We'd have it during a concert. It's exactly the conversation we'd have.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was on our little demo.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. A good little piece of trivia. I bet Rachel didn't know this. When Dave put out the Skyscraper album, did you see the album cover? Oh, it's a picture of him, like climbing.
It will make you like the record.
No, but it's
glad you didn't see it.
It's an actual picture. It wasn't like photoshopped or created in a photo studio or anything. It's an actual picture of him scaling a cliff. Like a massive cliff, and he's dangling by a rope, and he was into his whole outdoorsy trips to the Amazon and mountain climbing and doing all that kind of stuff back then. So when they put the record out, he had a publicity stunt where he scaled the Tower Records on Sunset with a rope all the way up to they had like a big mountain on top of Tower Records, and he scaled the summit and then waved a flag when he got to the summit. It was all very cute. Oh, Dave. It's a good record, though.
You should have scaled the Golden Arches.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I'm so glad that you like that record.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. I'm really happy.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Good. Well, I'm glad.
I was very reluctant.
Our work here is done, Joe.
Yes.
Well done.
Once again.
Yes.
Very nice. What else you been up to?
Nothing. Been watching
nothing.
No. Watching a lot of fighting. Sitting home, getting stoned.
Nice.
Watching a lot of MMA. There's been a lot of fights. Have you watched any of the fights? Did you watch the Versus fight?
Not this week.
Man, did you have it taped or anything? TiVo or anything? There's some fucking serious fighting on Sunday night on the UFC on Versus 4. Pretty good stuff. Like what turned out to be the main event, which was Pat Barry and Chet Congo. It was like, I'm telling you, Pat Barry they were two heavyweights, and he had this kid in the first round. Chet Congo's like 6'6". Pat Barry's like 5'10". So it's this massive height difference, and it looks like a giant versus just this little guy. And Pat Barry, the smaller guy, it looked like Chet Congo was out, like fully knocked out, and so he was on the ground, and Pat Barry jumps on him. This is 2 minutes into the fight. Chet Congo somehow like grabs his legs, and the ref doesn't stop the fight. Gets hit a couple of more times. Somehow he stands up, and it looks like just his eyes roll back into his head, and out of nowhere, just this uppercut. And Pat Barry is knocked out before he hits the ground.
Wow.
I mean, out where he looked dead, and he won the fight. It was one of the weirdest comebacks you'd ever see in an MMA fight. Really impressive.
That's the strange thing about like the heavyweights is it's either insanely good or totally boring.
Yeah.
It's a snooze fest.
Well, because if those guys go into the second, going to halfway into the second round, they're just gassed.
They gas out, yeah.
It's no fun. But it was a tremendous card, I have to say. I really enjoyed it.
Nice. I watched a little bit of Wimbledon over the weekend.
Oh yeah,
and I forget which one it was, but one of the gals was making some grunting noises.
Like crazy.
Wow, that was something. I forget which one it was, but every time
she's the one that beat one of the Williams sisters.
Yeah,
I watched the highlights.
Probably psyched her out with her grunting. There was a lot going on there. Yeah. Are you serving or passing a stone right now? What's going on over there? So that was entertaining. And then I
made that noise once, and we got Ethan.
Oh, is that how that happened? Nice. That's good to know. On Saturday, I hooked up with my brother Steve, and we hooked up down in Anaheim for a couple beers and just to hang out and catch up. Hadn't seen him in a little while, and
Thank you.
Just a couple of blocks away from where we were was the Grove of Anaheim.
Oh yeah,
and we found out that it was $20 tribute night at the Grove of Anaheim. So we said, should we go? Let's go. So we moved it on over to the Grove of Anaheim and caught not one but two tribute bands.
Is that legal?
I guess
to put
so.
Two tribute bands on the same bill?
The first one was called Tailor Made. Any guesses? Anyone?
Taylor Hawkins and the Coattail Riders solo stuff.
No.
Okay, Taylor Swift.
No.
Taylor Hanson.
No.
Taylor Dane.
No, but that's a good guess.
Taylor Made Guitars.
No. It was a tribute to James Taylor. And they were pulling out like wacky deep tracks from his heroin years, and they were going crazy up there. So we were having a little bit of a moment, and then the main event was a tribute band called Belladonna. Anyone? Any guesses?
Belladonna.
Yes.
Joey.
No, not Joey Belladonna.
Belladonna the porn star.
Not Belladonna. I didn't even know there was a porn star named
Didn't she
Belladonna.
run for, isn't that the one that ran for governor or mayor or whatever? Yeah, governor during the
I have no idea.
Yeah, she
Really?
ran and Gary Coleman ran, remember? Against Schwarzenegger during the recount.
That's a tough
the
ticket
Gray Davis
right there.
recount.
No, it was not a tribute to her either.
Wait. Belladonna. Yeah, no go.
A tribute to Stevie Nicks.
Oh, come on! Can you turn up Lenny for a minute? All right, cool, go ahead.
And on this particular night, the tribute to Stevie Nicks was playing Rumors.
In its entirety?
Pretty much. They didn't play the whole thing, but I think they got to most of the songs, except maybe one or two of the Christine McVie songs.
Yeah,
because you don't touch that.
No,
but they did all the Lindsey Buckingham stuff and all the other stuff. Pretty cheesy, really cheesy.
No,
but she comes
you don't
out.
Say, Joe.
I'll tell you exactly what she looks like. Did you ever see? What movie was that? Lost in Translation.
Yeah,
Bill Murray.
Yeah.
You know when they're sitting in the lounge in the Japanese hotel, and that really bad American lounge singer is I don't even remember what song she was singing, but it was really horrendous.
I know the scene you're talking about. Yeah,
that's pretty much the girl. So she's up there, but she's wearing the long, flowing, lacy dresses and the top hat, and she's spinning, and she's doing all the Stevie Nicks things, and she's
the
up
mic
there
stand decorated.
Oh, totally, and she's up there doing the stand back.
Were you embarrassed for her?
I was. We were having a good laugh, but it was a fun night out, just hanging out and goofing on him. But can't say that I could recommend Belladonna. TaylorMade was pretty good though. If you're a diehard Taylor fan,
For $20.
yeah, it was a good night.
A lot
out.
of things you could do for $20 instead of seeing two tribute bands.
There's certain parts of town where I think you get a friendly for $20. Whoa!
Care to share?
No.
Really? What part of town is that, Joe?
I didn't go to that part of town. I was at the tribute show.
Yeah, well, that was one night. What about the other 364 days of the year?
364 friendlies. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, you do. You know exactly what it means. You're just a little embarrassed.
I am just a little embarrassed.
Let's play a tune.
Let's play a tune. All right.
Let's talk to Rachel.
All right. I'm going to give you a choice.
Oh, go crazy.
You want to hear some Rush or something else?
Hey, should we do a quick should we do a Rush? We didn't even do that. Should we do that now and then you could play a Rush tune?
Sure.
Because we got Rachel in the room and she was there.
Sure. Well,
let's do that.
How about I put everyone in the mood, and then we'll talk a little about Rush, and then we'll do some music news.
You gonna play Robert Plant in the mood?
I could do that.
Or are you gonna play Rush's in the mood?
I could do either of those.
Are you gonna play Madrigal?
Or I could do neither of those.
Are you gonna play 2112 in its entirety?
Look out.
Are you gonna play Dio?
Stick it out.
Trust to your instinct if it's safely restrained. Lightning reaction.
Hi, this is Geddy Lee of Rush. Presto, you're listening to Radio Magic.
Radio Magic indeed, boys and girls. It's Tuesday night. You're in the used bin. Give us a call. We're at 888-40...
Indeed, boys and girls.
What? What?
Indeed. It's funny.
Indeed.
It's Radio Magic. Indeed.
Give us a call at 888-405-7440 or drop us an email.
usedbinradio@usedbin.com.
That's right.
.com.
Especially if you've seen Rush recently. We'd love to get your opinions on that. As the Brother Man shared with you earlier, we're going to have Ed from rushasaband.com here next week, so we're really going to get our Rush on then and do sort of a tour recap. But for right now, the three of us, including the lovely Rachel, Black Metal Warrior Princess, Esquire,
Evil.
of all things evil,
Black Warrior.
and sorcery.
sorcery.
That's right, we forgot sorcery.
We came up with sorcery.
We're going to do a little roundtable discussion.
It's
Talk about Rush? You want to talk about Rush?
Well,
you want to talk about Rush?
Rush. Okay. Big time Rush? No.
Mahogany Rush.
Mahogany Blank. We I guess what do we come into the last week of the tour? Right? I mean, it's
Whoops.
it's over after this week, isn't it?
It's never over.
No, seriously, the Time Machine tour I think is finally over after this week. So they will have done 4 legs, 5 legs at this point?
Well, they have 6 between them.
That's not true.
No?
No.
How many arms in Def Leppard? Oh, just kidding.
Is that nice, Rachel?
No.
Come
Bad.
on, let's all,
It's mean.
let's all give Rick Allen a hand.
Is it weird that didn't he get busted for domestic violence against his wife?
Yeah, and what does that look like?
Listen, I have 4 words for her. Do you want to know what they are?
Run, 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 run.
Move to the right. That's all. Just circle to the right.
Oh, that's brutal. That's rough.
I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you feel comfortable even filing that police report? Listen, my husband's got one arm, but he was beating the shit out of me. He was holding me down with his fucking leg. And knocked me out with his stump.
Wow, we've just hit rock bottom here, ladies and gentlemen.
Great Kiss song. I'm just saying, like, do you know what I mean? Is that bad?
Wow.
Anyway, so Rach, what were your thoughts? We listen quickly. The 3 of us, actually the 4 of us, because we went with Chris, hit the Time Machine tour for the second time at the Gibson Amphitheater, and it was night 2 on a Wednesday evening of another sold-out Gibson Amphitheater, and they sold out both nights here, which is a fairly small venue, so it's not surprising. It holds about 6,000. So both nights totally sold out. Great crowd, by the way, I would have to say. Shockingly, and I know that LA gets a bad rap, and I know that people that have seen this show in other cities sort of complained a little bit about the LA crowd, but it was a pretty decent LA crowd. Solid Rush fans here in LA, I have to say. But Rach, thoughts on the tour?
Well, it was exciting the first time around because you didn't know what to expect.
Right.
But this one, it was nice to kind of sit back and take it all in.
Yeah.
I was actually quite impressed with Geddy again. He nailed it. It always takes him a couple of songs to kind of warm up.
Yeah.
He goes in a little cold turkey.
Spirit of the Radio ain't the easiest song to open up with. I mean, that's not an easy vocal warm-up song. I mean, that's a hard song to sing to begin with.
No, but he killed it. Instead of singing along with him, I was like, I'm going to stop and enjoy this. I want to hear him.
You were mesmerized.
I was mesmerized. Well, not to mention the fact that we were on Alex's side. Mesmerized. Hello.
That was the closest I think we've ever sat on Alex's side before. I think I have anyway.
He looked at me,
He did. There were moments during the acoustic guitar solo where I think Rachel all but had tears in her eyes. She was having a moment.
She was having a moment.
Take me away.
Yeah. I mean, we were 5 rows from Alex.
Yeah, I think I felt like a trickle of his sweat hit me.
It was just a
and
weird.
And then I iced it at home.
Wow. Wow. Are you sure that wasn't Danny Carey?
Hardcore.
That wasn't Danny Carey you were talking
Carey.
about?
No, but speaking of Danny Carey,
Yes.
when we were backstage, I guess it's worth mentioning that there was a veritable who's who of rock back there. We had let's see who was back there.
Danny
I remember
Carey, John Wesley.
Well, John Wesley was back there. Matt Scannell was back there, and
Tom Morello.
Tom Morello, who was being cornered by Rage Against the Machine fans taking photos, which is always
that
cute.
guy was like there was the guy that cornered him for the photo. If I could take a picture of that guy's face, I would put it up on my mirror every day and hope that my day is as good as that guy looked. He was.
There were stars in his
mind.
eyes. You could see the heart bubbles coming out of it. I mean, it was so cute.
It really was. It was pretty great. In fact, we were sitting with our friend Mark, who works at the amphitheater, and we all just sort of stood back and went, "Wow, guy's really a fan. Like, this really made that guy's day." So
As Tom Morello's making his way back to the VIP, get me out of here.
Yeah, but it was nice enough to come back and take the photo. I thought. It was cool. It was a nice crowd back there. It was a nice mellow crowd, and it's always an older crowd backstage at a Rush show, but not in the audience. It's always kids now. It's fathers with their kids. Lots of them,
and a fairly good mix of male and female in Los Angeles. I remember just earlier today, somebody sent a link around. I guess there's something up on YouTube where somebody took some photos from a Rush show in the last couple of nights of the restrooms at the venue. And during the course of the evening, you just see these massive crowds of men all hovering around the men's room trying to get in so they can do their business and get right back out and not miss a note. Yeah. Meanwhile, you hear crickets over by the ladies' room because there wasn't a soul around. Not so much the case here in Los Angeles. I think we had a pretty good mix.
Yeah, I think that's slowly.
The chicks get it now.
Oh, yeah.
The chicks get it.
It's slowly becoming a myth about chicks at Rush show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long-standing joke, but I mean, there's a fair amount of women.
That's exactly what I got. I got the you should go use the bathroom right now. There'll be nobody in line, and there was a long line for the women. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I took a picture of the long line.
Yeah.
It was just as long as the male line.
Nice.
Creepy.
That's because the guys pee in their pants sometimes.
They don't have to. I mean, there's a bush outside. For
It's
God's
true.
sake.
Actually, if we're being honest, there was a guy a couple of tours ago who didn't even bother going in his pants or bother trying to get to the restroom. Do you remember when we were in Vegas?
Oh, dude.
We were in Vegas. I want to say this was like maybe the Test for Echo tour or Vapor Trails or
Vapor Trails.
It was probably 10 years ago. And
how long?
That was probably 10 years ago.
10 years.
10 years. And there was a guy probably mid-set who just couldn't wait anymore and was overserved on his 32 ounces of beer, and he just whipped it out right there in the row behind us and started peeing on the floor, and one of our buddies started getting sprinkles on his back.
That did not go over well.
No bueno.
Yeah, that didn't go over well.
So the point is, he'll never listen to Red Barchetta the same way again.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it was. That was no bueno.
Yeah. If you choose to pee in the aisle, you still have made a choice.
You still have made a choice. My take on the show is it was great. I loved it, and I love seeing Rush. I could see, you could see him every night, but there was, I don't know. I was into it. I loved it. I loved everything about it. But I felt like I'd seen the show before.
I liked it better than the first leg of the tour.
Why is that?
The first leg of the tour, as I always am with the Rush tour, I'm always hypercritical of the set list, and I knew they were going to be playing moving pictures, but I always want to hear deeper tracks, and especially when you start hearing Alex in the press a year and a half ago or whatever talking about we're going to be pulling out some tracks we haven't played in a while for the Time Machine tour, and to their credit they pulled out Presto and which they'd never played, or Marathon, which they haven't done in a very long time. So there were a few nuggets there, but I go into this with my imagination going wild, and I'm thinking, oh, they're going to do the Necromancer. We're going to get Beneath, Between, Behind this year, and that's just not going to happen. So I didn't have that kind of fresh disappointment in my head of, well, all right, we'll have to settle for this. I knew, kind of what we were getting.
You knew on the first leg of the tour what they were playing.
Yeah.
You knew going in.
But that little nagging disappointment was very fresh back then. Mm-hmm. Now it's just getting to see an old friend again, and this tour, it was actually much better than I remembered it from the first time around. Not that I didn't love it the first time around, but the moving picture segment was still great. But the first set was much better for me this time around, and the last maybe half hour of the show was infinitely better for me this time around, because that's really when they go old school, and I had forgotten just how old school it was to, in a block, hear 2112 and Closer to the Heart and La Via and Working Man and a little bit of Cygnus thrown on the end. That's old school for me, and I appreciated that, and the fact that they didn't split them up during the course of the show. They hit you with a nice half hour block of old school.
Yeah,
I like that.
Well, they leave you feeling good.
And the last 20 minutes is all about Alex, in my opinion. Sure. I mean, they're all on the top of their game, and during La Via and Working Man, Geddy and Neil are working hard. But Alex's tones were so crunchy, and he was so off the charts, and getting a little improvisational with his solos, and highlights for me.
Yeah, I just, for me, seeing that show for the first time was so spectacular. Camera Eye, Witch Hunt, Vital Signs. I mean, that was just so spectacular the first time we saw it, and Presto the first time, Marathon again. All that stuff on the first leg of the tour to me was just a little bit better than this time. Not necessarily the way they played or anything like that. It just was more exciting for me. And I mean, I've gotten so over the fact that they're not going to play the Necromancer or In the Mood or Tai Shan. Or maybe anything else off of Presto. I'm sort of done. I'm past that after we see the set list. And the fact that they don't come to LA for, a couple months into the tour gives me time for that stuff to kind of go away. So the wound isn't quite as fresh for me anyway. But it's just, whatever it is about seeing that thing for the first time, maybe it's because they hadn't been around in a while, and it was every time those guys walk on stage, there's just something like, we can take a deep breath and you go, here we go, and you feel like this is exactly where you should be. You're at the exact right place at the exact right time with the exact right people all the time. That's how I feel whenever they hit the stage.
Yeah, that's true. And the comedy and the videos, I really appreciate the fact that they throw that in now. It's just it just makes the whole evening seem more like an event than just a straight ahead. Let's power through the epics and power through the hits. Right. It just it gives the whole thing a little bit more of a fun flair, and I really appreciate it.
Not to mention that the set props, I think, are so visually stunning. Mm-hmm. This is by far my favorite. And you have Neil's drum kit.
Beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. I love all the little screens on the bottom of his kit.
I know.
They're really great. And if you're fortunate enough to sit real close, they're really fun and interesting. And the same thing, I guess, on all their the amp covers, which is the time machine motif.
Yeah.
Really great stuff. You're right. That's a great point. And I have to say that the amphitheater, the Gibson Amphitheater, if you haven't been there, which is, like I said, is about 6,000 seats, the way it's set up is the lighting, Rush's lighting, is so beautiful in that arena. It really lights up when the sort of the spider comes down and it turns into the crowd and it lights up the crowd. It's really beautiful. It really lights that arena up really nicely.
That's a good point. I mean, I think all the shows I've been to, even aside from Rush, at that amphitheater, it has that ethereal feel. Yeah. It takes you away.
I always think that, about seeing Rush outdoors. I love seeing Rush outdoors when they bring the lasers, but they haven't done it, I guess, in a while. Oh, no, they did that on the Didn't they have lasers on the last tour? Not the Time Machine tour, the last tour. And but I love seeing it, like when we see it at Irvine Meadows or whatever, and they bring the lasers out. I love that stuff outdoors. It never quite works the same for me indoors, but outdoors it's great.
Oh, a genius. Listen, to me you're a genius. To O'Malley you're a genius, but to a genius you're
no genius. I would agree. Kugel. I love Kugel. Schlomovitz.
Wasn't that Kugel who came out on stage at some point?
Yeah. They brought one of the girls out. She was reading to the hens? Wasn't that what she was doing?
To the chicken and the
Darren has no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, Darren, 2 days, pal, and your life will change. Your ticket will be stamped. Anyway, what do you think? What do you think it's time for, Joe Mama? I know what time it is.
Is it time for that?
No, it's not time for that, Joe. Come on, get your head out of the friendly gutter. Is this what you sound like after 364 friendlies? Your voice isn't quite this high, actually. But I think you're probably the same kind of, like, you're probably saying the same things, right? It's like, it's that inner monologue of yours.
Oh, God.
It slowly seeps out, and this is what it sounds like. It's a little lower tone, but you're really going for it. I mean, you mean it. You're not fucking around. When you're excited getting a friendly, that's what it sounds like, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. It's Rachel with the music news, ladies and gentlemen. That's Rachel, the black metal warrior princess of all things evil and sorcery. Welcome to it.
Good day, Rachel.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. That name gets longer and longer.
Oh, sorry. I just fucked that whole thing up, didn't I? All right. Yes, it does get longer and longer. You are right. Absolutely.
All right.
Well, what's happening, Rach? We've hit Rush and Yes and Chicago and what else? What else? Queensryche.
An elbow.
And Hair. And Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah, we're all over the place, aren't we?
Yeah. What do you got going on? What are you going to say for yourself?
Oh, boy.
I know, right? That's a horrible thing to say to someone.
Yeah, don't open those floodgates.
I know. What's going on in the news?
Well, I think we'll start with the KK Downing.
Yeah.
So in a recent interview with Priest bassist Ian Hill, he said that the reason why KK quit was over golf.
Over golf?
Over golf.
Like miniature golf?
He said he wanted to put down his guitar so he can concentrate on his golf course business.
Oh, he's got a golf course business?
Yeah.
What, does he design golf courses in the UK?
I don't know, but I don't think it's credible. You want to look?
It's like you know how professional golfers, they make their own courses.
Right.
You know, like Tiger Woods has designed his own courses. So could you imagine like the Ryder Cup, right? One of the big golf events is being played this year at the KK Downing designed course.
I want to see what that trophy looks like.
Totally.
Yeah, the KK Downing Invitational.
I mean, what is that?
The 18th painkiller hole. Right?
That's so great. Yeah, well, the 9th hole is just called Ram It Down.
Yeah.
How great is that? That's just nutty.
It's pretty crazy, you know. This is, again, it's speculation. I mean, this is coming from, one of the disgruntled band members, so this isn't coming from KK himself.
Well, he wouldn't make that. I mean, that's a silly thing to make up, right?
Why would somebody quit Priest over,
Well, look, he doesn't need the money.
He doesn't.
Assuming that he saved it, and there's a lot of it to save. I mean, I can't imagine that the guy needs the money, and, he's probably done touring. He's having more fun designing golf courses.
That is what he said. He said, I think Ken has just had enough. He's got a lot on...
They called him Ken.
He's got a lot on his plate with his golf course.
What's the other K?
I think he couldn't spend the time away.
What's the other K? Wait, Rach, what's the other K?
Clucks.
Ken Clucks?
Clan?
Ken Jennings? No, it's not Ken Jennings.
Kevin?
His family isn't the Ken Clucks clan?
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I hope not. I hope not. All right, go
You
ahead.
heard it here first.
Yeah, Ken Klux.
Ken Klux. So that's that. I mean,
Ken Klux is Ken Klux.
That's right. Ken Klux is Ken Klux. Good day.
good day.
Yeah, that's kooky to me. I don't know what to say about all that.
Yeah.
I wonder if Alice Cooper has ever played the KK Downing Invitational.
Alice Cooper's a big golf guy. You know, the thing is, too, look, Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull owns a ton of fish hatcheries.
Really?
That's where he makes most of his money. Like, he doesn't live off Jethro Tull money.
Right.
He lives off his fish hatchery money. And he's probably a millionaire many times over just from that. So, I don't know. Is it weird that some of these guys have a second life, have a second career? Not really. I guess it's just odd to say that you quit because you wanted to design golf courses.
If Mike Portnoy had a golf course, I'd probably play it.
I'd play that. That's right. Or a fish hatchery. I'd go.
Hey, by the way.
Yeah, by the way.
Yeah. I was reading some Dream Theater news, and I was...
Dream Theater.
Yeah.
Dream Theater.
Does that ring a bell?
Rings a bell. Dream Theater. Dream Theater.
Isn't that the band that Mike Portnoy used to play with?
No.
It's the band Derek Sherinian was in, right? No. I'm going to go on a limb and say this is Kevin Moore's old band. Is that right, Joe?
You are correct, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay, you're reading Dream Theater stuff.
And they were talking about Mike Mangini.
Yeah.
And
New drummer.
Yeah. But I found it interesting that they said that he actually didn't write with them. That he had the parts they were written and sent to him, and you know they gave him kudos to him. He doesn't have to take a second take. I
don't think that's it doesn't surprise me, only because I think that record was written not long after Mike left. After they knew he was really gone, I think they got in there because they were on a schedule. They wanted a record out in September.
Right, but the point is that, aren't you kind of looking forward to kind of a different spin to see what, a different element? Oh, no. Okay.
I think Joe's 100% right.
No, I'm just shaking my head no, but I don't want a different spin. For me personally, I want the same old thing. I want Dream Theater to do what Dream Theater does and not mess with the formula. I can't imagine that Mike Mangini's drum take is going to, really change the dynamic much of what Dream Theater does, especially because, as you mentioned, these songs were written without him. But even if he were to write with them, and that could be coming down the line if they don't hatch things up with Portnoy at some point, but that could be coming, and I still don't think it'll sound very much different, because I really think melodically and instrumentally and arrangement-wise, I think the Dream Theater sound that we've all come to know really kind of comes from the more musical aspect of this, which is Petrucci and Jordan, and I think the drumming, while Mike's input was always important, I don't think the fills and the percussive aspect of this is really going to change the nature of what the band does.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, and I would go even a step further and say the most interesting thing, what I'm looking forward to the most about this new record is which Dream Theater is going to show up. Because, is it the Train of Thought Dream Theater? Is it the Octavarium Dream Theater? Which Dream Theater are we going to get? We know that, to a certain degree, I think Petrucci wants a very progressive metal Dream Theater. He wants the mixture of Rush and Metallica back. And where I think Portnoy was definitely the one who led the charge for the big changes, for let's do Octavarium, and then let's do Train of Thought, and then let's do an Octavarium, and then let's do a this, and let's do a that. Let's explore all sides of what we do. I think Petrucci is going to give you a solid Dream Theater record. A mix between Rush, Metallica, and maybe even a little bit of Yes, because Jordan, I think, is going to go cuckoo. But that to me is what I'm looking forward to the most. And now is probably as good a time as any to say that, tomorrow, 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'm sorry, 11 a.m. Eastern.
11 a.m. Eastern time.
You can go to the Roadrunner Records YouTube channel,
right?
And they are going to debut a brand new Dream Theater song,
which is called "On the Backs of Angels," off of their upcoming record, "A Dramatic Turn of Events." And if you are a Dream Theater fan, and we know most of our listeners are, this is going to be your very first opportunity to hear what Dream Theater sounds like with Mike Mangini,
and your only opportunity to hear up until September, because from what I think we talked about a couple of weeks ago, they're only playing one track, one new song on this little European tour that they're going to do of festivals and stuff like that. So this is good, and I imagine obviously this is probably the track they're going to play. So this is the only new song you get until September, folks.
Ah, smart.
Eat it up.
It's really not unlike what Rush did on the Time Machine tour, really. They gave us a little sample of what's to come, but just hit you with the old classics and the standards so that you were content with the band and you're ready for the next chapter. And that's what we're going to get here. A little taste, a little sample, if you will.
Yeah, exciting stuff. I'm into it. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
I'll be up early, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. All right, Rach, what else you got?
All right. Okay. Ozzy has a new book to be published in October.
Oh boy! This is
another
one.
Another one. This one, like, I have to mention it.
Can only go downhill
because
from here, right?
Here we go. Here's what it's called. Trust me, I'm Dr. Ozzy. Advice from Rock's Ultimate Survivor.
Oh my God!
And it's based on a column he's been writing for the Sunday Times, and it's offering health advice of all things. And the book is actually made up of reprints of his best columns, and it also includes answers to celebrities' medical questions.
Because that's
because
exciting.
he's a certified doctor. You know.
Oh man! You know, isn't there a book out, the Keith Richards Survival Guide? I think that's a real book. I think that's a real book. I've seen it in the store. I think it's called like the Keith Richards Survival. Oh, no, you know what it is? It's quotes. No, don't do that. Come on.
I'm afraid of the dark.
It's I think it's like quotes of like survival tips or, you know, big quotes from Keith Richards, which is really funny because he's a cuckoo guy. But this doesn't sound exciting to me at all.
Yeah, but Keith Richards, I mean, he gets blood transfusions. I mean, he gets that cleaned out.
He does get that shit clean.
Yeah, he gets it cleaned out.
Yeah.
So there's your tip.
I have absolutely no interest in this book, nor do I have any interest in reading the column. So.
Yeah, but can you imagine how screwed up do you have to be to ask Ozzy for health advice?
Seriously, good point.
But then on the flip side, I mean, he's still alive, so you got to give him a little credit. Like, he might know a thing or two.
Dear Ozzy, do you recommend me riding an ATC really fast in my farm in London? No? ATV.
He's like, yes, but wear a helmet. Oh no, it'd be more.
That was Sharon. That sounded like Sharon.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't. You know what record this is on?
This is off Welcome to the Wild Country.
Good job, Joe. Well done.
Which wasn't released originally in America, and I was really upset about that because being an It Bites fan, we're talking about Frankie D. We're talking about Francis Dunnery, and you know, right after he left It Bites in '89. Early 90, he started working on this record, which was going to be the next It Bites record.
Right.
And the guys were no bueno. They wanted no part of it because I guess it was too pop. And so he put it out as a Francis Dunnery record, and that was sort of the last nail in the coffin for It Bites. But having said that, they didn't release it here in America until like 10 years later.
Right.
I had to track down a Japanese import for like $40, and that was in 1991. That was a lot of money in 1991 for a record.
Thing with Heartache Reborn, though, with this song, is that it's been re-recorded on about 3 other records since. So that's why I picked this version, because it's the OG. It's the original.
The OG.
It's the OG version of Heartache Reborn, folks.
Hi, Frankie.
Enjoy it. Crank it up for a second, Joe Mama. Give the kids a little taste. Yeah, baby. It's the OG version. Sing it, Frankie. That's right. No, baby, me neither. Damn right, Frankie. Play that rock and roll.
Good times.
Bastard could play the guitar. All right.
Have you seen any bootlegs of his house shows? Because I know he doesn't allow audio, but I'm curious if anybody snuck one out there.
No, I have not. I have not seen one. He's really tight about that kind of thing. It's part of your agreement when you have Francis Dunnery do a house concert. Which, if anybody's not aware of what we're talking about, go immediately after this broadcast to francisdunnery.com, because you could have a true rock star legend in your living room, and it's a cool gig.
It's unbelievable.
Experience. He takes you on a musical journey, and it's very, very cool. But he has some very specific rules, like no alcohol during the performance, because it doesn't lend itself to the kind of vibe that he wants. And
drink
afterwards is fine, but during the show he wants everybody sort of attentive, and it totally works. And no flash photography, because he's got a little bit of the King Crimson DNA, I guess.
Steals the soul.
It steals the soul. And no video or audio recording. And so consequently, over, 5, 6, 7 years that he's been doing house concerts, not a single YouTube video has popped up from a house concert.
No, the only thing you can find of Francis at a house concert is the pro shot stuff that was put out for Louder Than Usual, which was released not too long ago, probably within the last year, I think. And that's a bit of a documentary, the Tall Blonde Helicopter documentary. It's the Tall Blonde Helicopter show, which was filmed in Seattle at the Showbox. But also, there's a documentary on there, and in the documentary, you get a little bits and pieces of the house concert, so you get a taste of what that's like. It is a tremendous experience. Joe and I have been fortunate enough to host 2 of them, and it's been, every time it's just tremendous. And like Joe said, go to the website and sign up. Just hanging out with Francis for a while and having him just come out and hang out and, drink your water or your coffee or eat your food and, just mingle. Like, it's a very warm and exhilarating experience.
Indeed.
It's not delightful. Don't say it. It's delightful.
I just wanted to say hi to a specific segment of our listening audience right now.
A specific segment. Here you go. Fucking
want to say hi.
Genre doing.
No. I just want to say hi to the people that are listening to us on progrock.com right now.
Good day.
Rich, Pure Rock Radio, want to give you equal time and all. But no, our listeners at progrock.com, I just wanted to thank you for listening, and apologies that you did not get to hear our interview with Chris Squire earlier tonight. I guess we came in late on that particular particular site. So you'll have to look for the podcast, which you could do at usedbin.com, and hopefully that and many other podcasts will be up very, very soon.
There you go. Rach, you got some more stories for us? Do a little bit more of the news?
Yeah. Robert Plant has a documentary coming out soon as well.
Bobby P, we call him. Actually, we don't. I just made that up.
I've never heard that.
I just made it up.
No, have you ever heard him referred to as Bob or Bobby? Not once.
I've heard him referred to as Planty.
Planty? No.
Yeah, no, that's normal.
Francis Dunnery used to play in Robert Plant's band, and he used to refer to him all the time as Planty. He said, "Have you ever seen Planty sitting on the side of the stage drinking a cup of tea?"
Yeah.
That's a good accent.
Yeah. Hey, Planty, I've heard a lot. No, you never hear him, Bob. It's fucking Robert Plant. You don't mess with that guy. Yeah.
But
respect.
Robert De Niro, on the other hand, and you hear his friends say, oh, Bobby, Bob.
Well, he's not Robert Plant.
I mean, he's not Robert Plant.
When he's nearly as cool as Robert Plant, then we'll talk.
But if you are a fan of Robert Plant, who isn't?
Or Robert De Niro.
Or Robert Duvall.
There's gonna be a documentary released August 23rd, and it's titled Plant's Blue Note.
Oh, great.
Not Brown Note.
No.
The film includes rare footage, performance archives, recorded interviews, contributions from his closest collaborators.
I wonder if Frankie's on there.
Yeah.
That would not surprise me.
And they features like seldom seen photographs, and it basically explores his whole musical journey, spanning over 5 decades. So
really,
yeah.
So this is like the go-to documentary for Plant.
Exactly.
Interesting.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm really in.
Yeah.
It's funny. I forgot to mention this earlier. I was actually listening to Robert Plant earlier in the week, and I put on Pictures at 11. And
Excellent.
It's one of those records that still, even though that was, really made in the 80s. It was really the 80s. It stands up, and it doesn't sound as dated as some of the other stuff he did in the 80s. Like, I would argue, like, Manic Nirvana, or some, like, what was it, Heaven Knows? What record was that?
That's on the tip of my tongue.
I forget the name of that record, but yeah, those sound more 80s than Pictures at 11 and some of his early solo work.
That's the White, Clean, and Neat.
White, Clean, and Neat?
That's on that record that we can't remember.
Tie-Dye on the Highway?
No, White, Clean, and Neat. What's the record? It's where he started doing Zeppelin tunes again.
Yeah, it was.
Come on, really? We're gonna forget that record?
It was.
Ship of Fools is on that record.
Yeah, what's the name of that record? Oh, it's killing me.
Matthew, call in.
Oh, I can picture it. I forget. All right, we have to think. Silence while we think.
It's not going to come to me. God damn it.
What is the name of that record?
Freaking crazy.
Manic Nirvana was the follow-up. Now and Zen,
Now and
anyone?
Zen, there
Now
you
and
go.
Zen, we have a winner. We have a winner.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes, that's right. Yeah. I don't know. I like that record. What's wrong with that record?
Nothing. It just sounds a little more 80s production-wise.
White, Clean, and Neat.
Yeah, but no, I was listening to Pictures at 11 and realizing, after he did, the first solo tour, basically, he never revisited those first two solo albums other than Big Log.
Yeah.
And that one song, even that, sort of petered out of the set list after a while, but he never revisited that set list. And,
he did In the Mood, though.
Oh yeah, in the mood.
That was it.
In the Mood and Big Log. Yeah,
because
that's
those
fair.
were sort of the hits.
Yeah, that's fair. But I was listening to like Worse Than Detroit and Fat Lip and Midnight in Samosa.
Good records.
And Like I've Never Been Gone.
You like it?
Which that is a monster. That could be his finest album solo, in my opinion.
Pictures at 11?
No, that song.
Oh, that song.
That song.
Oh, I thought you said
Like
that
I've
record.
Never Been Gone. That's as solid as anything Zeppelin did. That is a major piece of music right there.
Yeah, he after Now and Zen he put out 3 records, right? He did Now and Zen, Manic Nirvana,
and Fate of Nations.
Right? And those 3 records they're good, but it was Now and Zen brought him back into like the I don't know, he was on the radio a lot with those songs.
Well, because just prior to that, he had the Honey Drippers.
But that song was a huge hit too.
Yeah, that's why he was on the radio a lot.
No, I just think that record was because there were Zeppelin samples in the single
right.
off of
That's right.
Now and Zen.
Long cool one.
Tall cool one. Right. There were Zeppelin samples in there, and I think that instantly got everybody excited again.
That was also the first tour where he started putting Zeppelin songs back in the set list.
Communication Breakdown was in that tour.
I've said it many times. When I saw his first solo tour, there was no trace, not a single shred or a single note of Zeppelin anywhere to be seen. And I think a lot of people were genuinely surprised by that.
Yeah.
That he wouldn't even throw in, the odd Whole Lot of Love or Rock and Roll or something. Mm-hmm. Not a single reference to Zeppelin all night. And the thing I loved most about that tour, and I've mentioned this before, is the fact that he had Phil Collins on drums, and all night Phil never said a word, never sang a word, just played his ass off. It wasn't until at the end of the night he introduced the band and he said so-and-so on bass, so-and-so here. I think it was Robbie Blunt on guitar, and Phil Collins on drums and on keyboards, blah, blah, blah. And it was beautiful. He was just another musician out to play. I loved it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely cool. Well, I'm excited about this documentary, Rach. Nice. When is this coming out?
August 23rd.
Oh, nice.
So soon.
Is it a DVD?
It's a DVD. But,
this has to be, if this is like a career-spanning documentary, it's got to be like 4 hours. Dude, if Tom Petty can put out a documentary and it's like 37 hours, that freaking documentary that Petty did, the Plant one's got to be like 88 hours, right?
Yeah, but look what they did for Rush. Beyond the Lighted Stage. I mean, that could have that could have gone on and on and on for hours, and if I had my way.
You weren't getting anything else out of those guys.
Oh, I don't know. I think they got a lot more out of him because there were a lot of bonus features and things. I think they got a lot more out of him than what ended up in
What'd you get
just
out
the
of that
final
thing
version.
that you were shocked about?
Oh, what I was shocked about? I don't know that there were really any revelations, but the guys participated a lot.
Good Maiden song.
Yeah.
Revelations
this one.
Yeah, I think that was exactly what you were going to get out of them is what you got. I don't think you could have dragged that thing out 5-6 hours. I just don't think they gave you a lot. But I'm serious, that Petty one, and I can't remember the name of it now. It's like 4 discs. I mean, it's really long, and it's I think it's unbelievably fascinating. They could have done 2 hours just on making Damn the Torpedoes. There was so much going on that record when they made that record. But the thing is that if you're going to do a Plant documentary, I mean, that thing could be 9 hours.
Now, are all those discs for the Tom Petty? Is that all documentary?
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Oh, yeah. It's chronological.
There's not like the bonus
No,
footage?
I think starts at the beginning.
Wow.
He starts at the beginning. He takes you right up to where he was then, which was it The Last DJ, I think was the record that they did that documentary for him. It's really good. And like I said, just the Damn the Torpedoes era with what was going on with him and the record company and Jimmy Iovine making that record and producing that record. They're making that record almost in secret. No one was supposed to know they were making a record. It's a whole it's a whole deal. And that story in itself it's a story for another show. But great. I loved it. I'm a Petty fan. I dig him.
Yeah.
And I think he's fascinating and totally an interesting guy. So, there you go.
So there's a little bit of the music news.
Rage, that's exciting.
Exciting.
Fucking Plant. Does Stephen Humphries know about this?
He's already in line.
Seriously?
He's already in line for the first screening. You kidding me?
August 26th, you say?
23rd.
Well, you're going to wait an extra 3 days?
I'm not going to lie. I'm excited.
I'm in.
Rach. In or out? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
In.
Plant documentary. Thumbs up?
I'm in. Thumbs up. 2.
Your husband. Thumbs up, thumbs down? Plant documentary.
Up.
Totally. Even though he's a Roth fan, he's in. All right, Mama.
Well, there is something else in the music news that we'll talk about in just a couple of minutes, I think, before we wind down the show. But our old pal Portnoy is up to his old tricks again, putting together side projects all over town. And his latest one is with Russell Allen of Symphony X. But before we tell you anything about that, here's a little Symphony X for you. So this is Evolution.
Is this new, by the way?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, they have a new record out.
They do, but
I just thought maybe you might play it.
I'm going old school on you. So this is Evolution, this one.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Richard Cheese, and you're lounging against the machine on the greatest radio station in the world. Insert call letters here. Now go out and buy my fucking CD. Thank you. Good night.
Nice. Very good. A little Symphony X for you from the V album. That doesn't suck too much. You gotta love that. Hey, next week on this very radio program, Ed Stenger from RushIsABand.com will come in and do a little post-mortem on the Rush tour, talk about what's coming up next for
Let's say recap.
No,
post-mortem sounds so...
You said that last
So
week.
sinister. Like they're dead.
Dude, we're doing an autopsy. It's over.
We're doing a tour autopsy. All right. I guess that's a little better.
It's over. It's a post-mortem. It's over.
Okay, that's fair.
Look, dude, the toxicology reports are back, pal.
We're going to pick apart the...
we're going to tear
apart the tour.
We're going to
the
tear
Time
it up.
Machine tour.
Tear it up and rebuild it. Tear it
Okay.
down and rebuild it.
We have the technology.
That's right.
We can
So
make
we'll
it
talk
bigger and
about-
stronger than it was.
That's right. Talk about that and talk about Clockwork Angels coming up. And then, coming up later on in the show, something Joe and I are really excited about, Kurt Vanderhoof. Presto Ballet, ladies and gentlemen.
Maybe he'll bring some B-sides.
Love it. Very excited to talk to Kurt. And you know, Kurt was also originally from Metal Church, so we can talk a little bit about that as well. But Kurt's going to join us on the show. Presto Ballet has a new EP that they're getting ready to release, and I believe that it's going to be mostly in digital format, but there are physical CDs you can buy.
Indigenous?
It's indigenous. That's yes. Thank you, Jon Anderson. But yeah, so Kurt Vanderhoof will join us later on in the show next week. Talk a little Presto Ballet, ladies and gentlemen. And so now, do you want to know what we're going to talk about?
What are we going to talk about, Brad?
Hola!
Hola!
Hey!
Hey! Hey! You're just having too much fun over there.
Hey! I'm enjoying. Hey! 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 All right, let's get to business here. Look, I know what you want. I know what Joe wants, and I know what Rachel wants, and it's not friendly.
It's not pretty.
They want to learn how to get their own damn website.
That's right.
Because everyone's got one.
Everyone's got one.
So
I want one.
that's
You got
right.
a deal for me?
I do. No more waiting in line, folks, because here's what you got to do. If you have your own business, or if you're in a hot new band, or you got some hot naked photos of your friend's favorite mom,
Yeah, boy.
and you're going to want to share it with the whole damn world, and I'm going to give you your chance.
It's nice to share.
Because with our partnership with GoDaddy.com, it's never been easier to get online and get some balls.
It's so easy.
We're going to get some balls rolling,
That's right.
and we're going to get them on your back. And
I don't
gonna
even
show
know what
you-
that means.
And I'm going to show you how to make it right. All right, here's the deal. First, head over to purerockradio.net/
Not Axel.
GoDaddy and enter coupon code
POD167.
at the time of purchase. And just because you listen to Usman Radio,
Just because you listen to us,
you're going to save how much, Joe?
10 big percent.
Rachel, how much are we going to save?
10%.
Joe Mama,
Woo! 10%.
how cool is that?
10%. 10%.
Now, what you're probably thinking to yourself is, man, I really want my own site.
My own site.
I know nothing about
nothing
setting up a
about
web
setting up a web page,
I
though.
enjoy a friendly.
Enjoy a friend. Oh,
Good
you got me on that
one. And I sure hope I get the results back from the labs.
one. From the post-mortem.
That's right. And he never drinks a second cup of coffee at home. All right.
Hey!
Fear not, friends. It's a piece of cake. Because GoDaddy offers all kinds of free tools,
Danny Carey
and we're going to help you create your own
Maynard.
website, and we're going to help get you up.
and the other guys.
Now, every time you use coupon code POD167, you'll be supporting Usman Radio.
And all our pals at PureRockRadio.net.
So check out the complete list of coupon codes at purerockradio.net/
Not Axel.
GoDaddy.
And say hi to your mom for us, why don't you? While you're at it, perhaps, maybe.
And that's the scuttlebutt.
That's a lot of hoopla.
All right, let's get back to business. Yeah, all right, come on. The music going. Let's go. Let's get to work. All right. All right, there was a big rock and roll show in New York.
Rock and roll.
The debut of Mike Portnoy's Adrenaline Mob, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
And it's not actually called Mike Portnoy's Adrenaline Mob.
But
it's
it
Adrenaline
should be.
Mob, but, you know how we have this crazy infatuation with Mike Portnoy. The truth of the matter is,
Mike,
we are truly in love with this guy, and it's obvious because we talk about the guy about every 30 seconds. So,
if Mike Portnoy were giving out friendlies,
I'd get one.
You'd probably get one.
Probably be in. I'd be in line right after you.
Just enter coupon code POD167.
Rachel would be taking pictures, actually, which would be an unbelievable sight. But there was a great review of the Adrenaline Mob show in the New York Hard Rock Examiner, and the guy that wrote the review, Elliot Levin, I thought nailed it. It's the first time anyone's ever seen these guys. Apparently, it was a very small place, the High Road Ballroom, I guess, which is a Japanese-themed place where they usually just have like dance club night. So this is where they decided to debut Adrenaline Mob, and I guess it sounded like the show was really good. The interesting thing for me is they played some covers. Obviously, they played the whole new record, and nobody knows the new record because it's not out yet. But
right.
Like even Mike posted it on his forum. He made it really clear to nobody to record the show, no pictures, no YouTubing, none of that. And true to fans of these guys, I haven't seen one clip on YouTube. Not one clip of that show. That's pretty rare these days.
You could see the entire video of the performance though at the next Francis Dunnery House concert.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I guess they shot it. Obviously, of course. Mike. Yeah. So there's
he's watching it somewhere right now as we speak.
Editing.
Good. Dude, you want to come over? I'm going to be watching the show from the other night. Me and Russell Allen are having popcorn.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my visual.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, it's probably exactly what's happening. So he recorded it, and I'm sure we'll see that sometime soon. But here's the cool thing. Okay, they played the whole new record, and I guess some of the song titles were "Hit the Wall," "Feeling Me," "Hit the Gas," very cool stuff like that. "Angel Sky" was another one. I guess it sounded very Symphony X-ish. But the covers they played are what really matters now, isn't it?
Hit me with the covers.
They opened up with Black Sabbath's "The Mob Rules."
If you listen to Fools,
the goddamn mob rules.
That's all I'm saying.
So that's pretty cool. Russell Allen singing "Mob Rules." I'm in. Here's the weird one for you. This one will catch you way off guard. Duran Duran's "Come Undone."
Come Undone. I don't think I know the tune.
Yeah, which is probably why Portnoy picked it. Wow. He's cuckoo like that. But why would they play a Duran Duran song?
Well, I'm guessing
random.
I'm guessing it's not from the the early '80s Duran Duran new wave thing.
Do you know
it's
the
probably
song,
you know it.
Do I?
Yeah, it was like all over. It was all over like K-Rock in like '94.
Okay, so yeah, it's not that early '80s new wave Girls on Film stuff. It's more like when they came back around and
they were
got a little
like
more serious.
White Lines, but that was like the big hit. That was their.
So it's pre or post Rio?
Oh, way post Rio.
Yeah.
How post?
10
what was
years.
the record after Rio?
Yeah, Seven in the Ragged Tiger. Why do I know that?
Yeah.
Why do I know that? Followed by the live album Arena. Anything else you want to know?
Bad. That's bad. Arena, good. Duran Duran's Arena, bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, they also played, which I was really excited about, Badlands High Wire.
That's random.
Fucking love that record. Huge fan. And Russell Allen singing the Ray Gillen vocals is really exciting to me. And they closed with Dio's Stand Up and Shout.
That's good.
So there you go.
So they covered some Ronnie James ground.
Yeah, they certainly
How about
did. Yeah. I guess, and I just scanned over the review, and I thought he made a great point in that, listen, nobody knows those songs, so people were into it, but how into it can you be if you don't know the tunes? So there was no mosh pits, no crazy stuff like that, but apparently it was a great show. I'm really excited to hear it. Everybody seems to describe it as this like kind of Disturbed-ish, kind of I don't know, Black Label Society sounding kind of rock. It's very modern.
That's
metal.
interesting. That's heavier than I would have expected.
I think the truth of the matter is that Mike Portnoy loved being in Avenged Sevenfold, and if they asked him to join that band on a permanent basis, I don't think he would have blinked. I think he loves playing that kind of metal. It's modern, it's fresh. I think he spent a lot of time playing,
and he was probably playing some of the biggest venues of his career.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's that, but I just mean musically. He spent a lot of time playing fucking Rush and Yes and that kind of prog. I think in Metallica rock, I think he wanted to play something really modern and really up to date. And this is what you get.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I'm excited to hear it. And we were talking a little bit offline, but I do like me some Symphony X. I know you're a little bit on the fence.
Have you listened to that? What's the new record? Iconoclast?
Iconoclast. I haven't really given much of a listen yet, so I can't really comment on the new record. Other than to say that I thought it was odd that it's going to be a 2-disc set when it gets released, and it clocks in at about 85 minutes total, which if you had shaved off, 4 or 5 minutes somewhere, you could have squeezed it all on one disc. So it seems like an awful waste of disc space.
Listen, for me,
but I just try to be efficient that way.
I'm not in. I just never. I like some Symphony X. It's hard not to. If you're sort of a prog metal guy, you're sort of drawn to it. But just not my. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'd listen to Shadow Gallery before I'd listen to Symphony
X. Is that right?
How's that?
They've got a lot of records out, Symphony X, and only a few really stand out for me. But I think V, which is actually 5, the new Mythology suite, is pretty epic for me, and the Odyssey, because
those are good.
They basically just took 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence and just sort of reworked it from the ground up, because that's really what it is. It's a tribute to 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence.
But that's the thing, is I just rather listen to 6 Degrees.
Yeah, and that's fair.
What I find interesting is that Russell Allen they have this record out, right? Iconoclast. It's been, 3 years since the last Symphony X record.
Right.
And he's out there playing with Adrenaline Mob. Like, shouldn't he be out there playing with Symphony X?
I'm sure that's coming. The record hasn't dropped yet.
Yeah, it's out.
The new Symphony X?
I think it was out last week.
Oh, okay. So it's just freshly out. So they probably
it dropped.
It dropped.
They dropped it.
They dropped. Whoops. We dropped the record.
New record drops Tuesday.
We dropped it. Now it's broken.
Yo, this is Kanye West. Check out my new record when it drops.
It drops.
Wow. Yo, this is Russell Allen. Check out the new Symphony X when it drops.
We're very hip here in the bin.
Yeah.
We're very hip. We're dropping records and deuces all over the place.
Wow.
I don't even know what that means.
Yo, you know exactly what it meant. You just embarrassed yourself. Sort of like your 364 consecutive friendlies.
But they're consecutive.
They're consecutive.
I like to be consistent, and I like to be efficient with my disc space. That's all I'm saying.
All right, then.
All right.
Hey, did I mention Ed Stenger and Kurt Vanderhoof next week?
Yeah, that'll be good fun.
Good times.
Maybe we could do, I don't know, like a post-mortem on the Rush tour. I'm just saying.
Total.
Wow.
Totally.
Okay. Well, since
look, we're doing a post-mortem on the Time Machine tour and a preview of Clockwork Angels.
That's right.
There you go.
And just a little parting thing we could kick around since we just have a couple of minutes left. There was a little article in the LA Times that I thought I'd mention. And the LA Times listed the 50 best bands in Los Angeles history. Have you seen this, Rachel? Who would you expect would be near the top of that list? In the top 2, 3, 4 of the best bands in Los Angeles music history?
She needs a mic. There you go.
Yeah, she does, right?
The Doors.
That's reasonable. Good choice.
Motley Crue.
Okay.
LA based. Jane's Addiction.
Right, go. Good. Doing well. Poison? No, just kidding.
Well, they're not LA based, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're from Pennsylvania, right? So you can't count
but
that.
I think they're considered LA.
Okay, LA. Oh, Guns N' Roses.
Right, okay, right, sure, of course.
Okay.
They should be in the top 5.
It's getting sweaty in here.
Go ahead, Joe. What do we got?
Tool.
None of those.
Tool.
None of those are in the top 10. And I'm with you. All of those are critical. In fact, I'd throw out a couple more that should be like right at the top, if not the top. I mean, Los Angeles music, Southern California. Anybody? Beach Boys? Come on.
Yeah,
really?
I heard of them.
Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys are not in the top 10?
Are the Mamas and the Papas in the top 10?
No, not in the top 10. The top 10 are, starting with number 10, The Association.
Okay.
X.
Okay.
The Flying Burrito Brothers.
Okay.
A little Pasadena quartet called Van Halen.
What number are they?
We'll give them points for at least acknowledging Van Halen at number 7.
Good.
Sparks.
What?
Yeah, Sparks over Van Halen, mind you. So that means if Van Halen's at number 7, who should come in at number 5? Obviously, Linkin Park.
Whoa. Linkin Park is number 5?
Yes, they are.
Most influential LA bands?
Yes. And they just were under the wire because of the Turtles came in at number 4.
Of course they did.
Who were surpassed only by the mighty Canned Heat at number 3.
Wow.
At number 2, the unstoppable Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band, and topping the list, the Mothers of Invention.
See, Mothers of Invention should probably be in the top 5.
Yeah, I get it, because Frank Zappa and Frankie and the Knockouts are both equally important.
Is that weird?
Very nice on the Frankie. Yeah, I think we got to run, kids. Say goodnight, Brad.
We'll finish this up next week. Hey, say goodnight to the bad guy, huh? Joe Mama, nice to see you.
And to see you, nice.
See you next week, everybody.
You've been radio. What are you listening to?
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
You're listening to a live internet broadcast on Pure Rock Radio.
At PureRockRadio.com.